From a country banning the game entirely to a secret method to gain XP twice as fast, these are the absolute best Brawl Stars facts of 2025.
Instead of scrolling through your entire brawler collection to find your favorite assassin or damage dealer, imagine if you could just filter by class. This would make picking the right brawler way faster, and you wouldn't run out of time mid-search. And I'm out of time. Recently, Supercell has been super generous with free rewards. Oh, hypercharge! But hold on, before you get too excited, there's a catch. You can't just claim that sweet free Shelly hypercharge unless you've already maxed her out. And what's even worse is the free tag on the shop icon that'll just sit there and taunt you until the offer disappears. However, players came up with this genius idea. Instead of getting a free hypercharge that we can't claim, we should get hypercharged drops. Sounds perfect, right? Well, Supercell doesn't agree. Barry Super can be so annoying. But did you know Bull can completely counter it with his super? If Barry comes rushing at you with his spinning super, just activate Bull's super and charge right into him. You'll knock him out of his spin and stop him immediately. Just another reason why nobody should use this abomination of a brawler. If you get bored while playing Brawl Stars, then there's one thing you could do that will save the world. And here's how you're going to do it. Go load up Brawl Talk, get frustrated by Branks' bald head blinding you, then learn how to be a Photoshop pro and just slap some hair onto Franks' head. Boom! Problem solved. Phew! Finally, you can watch Brawl Talk in peace. Sorry, Frank.
Random teammates can be dumb. We all know that. But they're nothing compared to this Griff who literally handed the enemy team a free goal. While trying to defend, he dropped his piggy bank right in front of the goal, thinking it would stop the enemies. But as Melody ran in with the ball and shot it as a last-ditch effort, the piggy bank exploded at the worst possible moment, destroying the wall and letting the ball roll straight in. The enemy team won, and all because of that. I mean, who even uses piggy bank anymore? This dude had one of the funniest moments ever in Brawl Stars. He was about to score using his super, but just as he shot the ball, the enemy Stu dashed in and stole it. But instead of shooting it away from his goal, he accidentally supered it straight back towards his own goal, where it bounced off the post, and then Mortis came in rushing to steal the goal at the last second. Yeah, Stu probably scored a goal with his phone after that one. Did you know you can use Pearl to absolutely destroy Edgars and roast them in flames for all eternity? Yeah, it's true, and I love it. Pearl was basically built to make Edgar main suffer. Justice has never tasted so sweet. Did you know that kicking can actually be satisfying? Well, it definitely is if you're playing Fang. With his hypercharge activated, Fang can chain his kicks one after another, bouncing from brawler to brawler, sometimes wiping out the entire team in seconds. It's one of the most satisfying and overpowered moves in the game. Who knew feet could be this dangerous? Watch out! Spike's curveball incoming! Whew, seriously, no better feeling than that. Dodging those sneaky little cactus bombs feels like you're in Undertale fighting a final boss. Honestly though, with how tricky those curveballs are, maybe Spike is Sans in disguise.
Everyone knows about the legendary King Frank skin that never got released. Well, guess what? You can finally purchase it. But here's the catch. The skin is only available through the Supercell store and costs 15,000 store points. These points are earned by buying items from the store, meaning if you want the skin, it'll cost you around $100. Alternatively, you can complete quests in pretty much any Supercell game to earn points. Now you can finally play as King Frank, though your wallet might feel a little lighter. Look at this cool trick you can do with Mandy. On certain maps where she sits on her throne, you can spot her casually watching the match like she's enjoying an ancient gladiator battle. However, if you select Mandy as your brawler and play on the same map, she won't be sitting on her throne anymore, because now she's the one in the battle. Most players think that there's a filter that stops you from matching with the same brawler as you, but that's actually not true. If you're lucky, you can end up on a team with the same brawler you're playing. And believe it or not, there's even a slim chance that all three brawlers on your team could also be the same. However, I found this out the hard way when both my teammates loaded in as level 1 ticks. How are you dead already? There's a way for you to get your own Supercell creator code, but Balootic, you need at least 1,000 subs. Well, don't worry, fellow brawlers. Supercell just changed that, and to get it, you only need 1,000 followers on TikTok, 100 subs on YouTube, or 25 followers on Twitch. It's literally too easy. That should mean I qualify too, right? Okay, maybe not. Did you know Cordelius and Lily use the same Shadow Realm? Okay, maybe you did, but this can be super useful, because if your teammate is Cordelius, then both of you can dive into the dimension together to finish off an enemy. Yeah, they definitely won't be expecting that.
Starting off with Brock, because did you know he has a secret wall hack? Well, kinda. If you see an enemy hiding just behind a wall, all you have to do is fire a rock directly at it, and somehow the damage actually hits them through the wall. I bet you didn't know that Daryl is basically a safe demolisher in Heist. If you equip his spinning gadget before the match, match, roll right into the middle of the safe and activate it. Boom! He starts spinning and every single shot lands inside the safe, dealing a massive chunk of damage. And now that gadget's recharged during the match, it's even more broken. Don't ever make this rookie mistake with Carl. When you throw his pickaxe, always try to position yourself near a wall, because if the pickaxe bounces off a wall, it comes back way faster. But if you throw it into empty space, yeah, enjoy standing there like a clown waiting for it to return. Without the bounce, Carl becomes straight up garbage. Bull has a secret trick that makes his hypercharge feel way longer than it actually is. Unlike most brawlers, Bull can activate his hypercharge during his super right as he's about to crash into someone. And if you miss your super, no problem, because you can actually hold off on using hypercharge and save it for the perfect moment. Did you know that clay pigeons is actually Shelly's most important ability? Yup, it can completely change how you play her. Sure, it gives her long range shots, but that doesn't mean she's suddenly a sniper. The real trick is using it at medium range, just far enough so that all the shotgun pellets land perfectly on your target. So yeah, stop trying to snipe across the map. When playing 8-bit, the best combo you can run is his teleport gadget with the boosted booster star power, because you can drop your turret, play super aggressive, and the moment things get risky, boom, you just teleport. It's like giving 8-bit a personal escape button, and trust me, it makes him way scarier. Kaze has the most unique mechanic. If you ever get hit with Bell's mark, you could just switch Kaze's form and poof, the mark disappears. Bell mains are probably crying in the corner because of this. Amber isn't the aimbot machine people think she is, and here's why. If your enemy is standing at the very edge of your range, they can dodge your fire super easily, especially if they've got a speed boost. So the moment you see someone far away, just aim. Unless, of course, you're still out there missing bots in the training grounds. Did you know that Finks basically stole Charlie's super? Yeah, sounds crazy, but it's kinda true. His time stop gadget literally freezes enemies in place, just like Charlie's super does. And if you're playing Brawl Ball, this means you can get free goals. Just pop that gadget, freeze the defender, and shoot the ball. The best way to use Lumi's super is to just move back. Literally, that's it. Her final super blast has the biggest radius, and by backing up while using it, you line up the shot way easier and hit targets effectively. Fang's super is insanely fun to use. So today, I'm gonna try to pull off the longest chain hit ever. I've got a whole lineup of my friends just standing here, waiting to get absolutely destroyed. All right, here we go. No wonder Fang feels like a Brawl Stars version of Jackie Chan. Say Invisiheal to an OG Brawl Stars player and watch them start twitching. Because yeah, it was that broken. Right after Brawl Stars went global in 2019, Leon was hands down the most overpowered brawler in the entire game. And the reason was that cursed Invisiheal star power. Back then, it healed him 1000 HP per second while invisible. So he could be losing a fight, pop his super, vanish, heal to full in seconds, and then come back swinging like nothing happened. And the worst part is he'd hit you a few times, instantly recharge his super, and do it all over again. We could say back then Brawl Stars was at the peak of P2W. Everyone knows that with Hank's Hypercharge, we finally got to see actual fireworks in Brawl Stars. But have you ever wondered what happens if there's no enemy for that Hyper Beam to lock onto? Well, time to find out with the secret Willow trick. So here's the plan. Willow takes control of Hank right as he activates Hyper, and oh my gosh, Hank's Hyper just starts spinning around himself. I honestly didn't expect that at all. This might be the most beautiful bug I've ever seen. Janet might just be the most satisfying brawler to break skulls with, and I'm putting that to the test. But no, I'm not using her super to bomb everything. Instead, I'll use her drop the base gadget. Because it deals damage in a radius, so if we place it just right, it should absolutely shatter those skulls. And oh my god, she actually does break all the skulls. It literally wipes out every single skull in range with one click. That's just too satisfying to watch. Starting with the most trolled brawler in the game, Poco. Back in the early days, Poco was the pick for that one friend who had no idea what they were doing, and their only job was to heal the better player. But when star powers were introduced, Poco mains decided they were done being support bots and started going aggro with Screeching Solo. And ever since 2018, the community has been begging for Supercell to nerf Poco. Did you know Rosa used to have 35,000 HP, which is why she became the most hated brawler back in 2019. You see, Supercell thought it was a great idea to give her a super that reduced 80% of all incoming damage. At max level, she had 7,000 HP, and with that shield, she was basically walking around with 35,000 HP for a few seconds. It was like fighting the final boss, and your only real option was to run. Eventually, balance changes hit, and now she's just forgotten old meta. When using Macy, there's one combo that turns her into an absolute menace. The moment you pop her gadget, follow it up instantly with her super. She becomes super fast, super unpredictable, and her super suddenly covers way more enemies. Pretty super if you ask me. Don't be afraid
Speaking of prototypes, did you know Shelly was supposed to have a pet chicken? In the early days, Shelly originally had a person following her around, but Supercell scrapped the idea because it felt a bit creepy. Instead, they came up with the concept of a pet chicken that would heal her during matches. And even though this chicken was a much better idea, Supercell ultimately decided not to include it in the game. Among the many early sketches for Project Laser, one stands out: a female version of Brock. Some players later nicknamed her Brockette since she had a rocket launcher and was essentially just a female counterpart to him. However, this concept eventually evolved into the Brock we know today, and many fans are probably still cursing Supercell for not letting us have a female version of Brock. If there was an award for the weirdest codename for a scrapped brawler, it would definitely go to Hook Dude. This character was designed with a super that could pull opponents toward him. Sounds familiar, right? But here's the twist: he used his scarf to do it. And guess who else rocks a scarf? Edgar. So maybe if Supercell had introduced Hook Dude and his scarf weapon, it's possible Edgar might never have existed at all. What a dream that could have been.
You've probably had to grind ranked before, and it's always rough when you get stuck with bad randoms. But the absolute worst feeling is being just 12 points away from ranking up to something like Mythic, only to lose the next match and drop all the way down to Bronze. At this point, it's basically a canon event for every Brawl Stars player. Everyone loves when brawlers get released, but what's even better is grabbing them early from Star Road by forwarding credits during that limited time window. But the worst feeling, when you're just a little bit late and finally start grinding credits, only to realize you need way more than you thought. So you're like, fine, I'll just spend some gems to skip the grind. But then, boom, you're literally 1 gem short. 1 single gem. If this has ever happened to you, you already know. Your luck is actually cursed. Val might be one of the best brawlers for pulling off rare trick shots, thanks to how her ammo bounces off walls. In one match of Gem Grab, a player randomly shot at a wall, only for the bullet to bounce off several others and somehow take out a penny on the other side. I bet you've seen some weird names in Brawl Stars before, but what probably never happened to you is sharing that weird name with your enemy. One player jumped into a normal match with the name I Hate Children, only to find their opponent named I Hate Kids. I guess we've got 2 teams to choose from now. Did you know you can deal 1 million damage in a single Brawl Stars match? Well, kinda. It's insanely hard to pull off, but YouTuber 6wix actually managed to do it. He teamed up with 2 friends in Power League, and their plan was to keep tying Brawl Ball matches over and over again until they hit that crazy number. And the tricky part was, if they accidentally won or lost, they'd have to wait 6 whole weeks for the quest to show up again. So, after carefully picking their brawlers, they got to work. And after 16 drawn matches and over an hour and a half of grinding, they finally did it. Now that's some serious dedication. Have you ever wanted to see the Brawl Stars lobby without all those buttons? Well, thanks to this random glitch, you actually could. This bug would sometimes appear when loading into a casual, or even worse, a ranked match. Instead of showing the loading screen with the player count, it would just leave you stuck in the lobby with no buttons at all. As a bonus, you would receive a negative reputation in ranked. But hey, at least you got to admire the beautiful menu background background without any brawlers in the way. Brawl Stars developers accidentally swapped these pins. When Supercell released the Mecha Gojira Tick skins, they made a really weird mistake. Or should we call it a bug? The light Mecha Gojira skin has golden eyes, but its pin shows purple eyes, while the dark Mecha Gojira skin has purple eyes, but its pin shows golden eyes. T-poses are usually the kind of bugs you'd expect in low-budget games, and Brawl Stars is definitely not one of them, or at least it better not be, considering how much we spend on gems. But turns out that's not the case. When Buzz's Godzilla Hypercharge skin was released, activating Hypercharge didn't transform the skin properly, causing Buzz to go invisible while his supercharged variant just sat at the bottom of the screen doing a T-pose. With this bug, Brawl Stars was definitely giving off Gary's Mod vibes. Here's a super secret mechanic for Edgar players. If you go to the home screen, you'll see the Brawl Stars app. Just hold it and click uninstall. Now you're going to be much better at Brawl Stars. If you're playing Buster and Brawl Ball, there's a trick you need to know. It's all about his pull gadget. When you use it on an enemy, it drags them in, and while they're being pulled, they can't shoot or steal the ball. So if you time it right and yank the goal defender out of the way, you get a free goal. Jackie's rebuild gadget is straight up OP. If you ever get the chance to use it, do it. Whether you're trapping enemies, blocking the ball, or just causing chaos, this gadget gets the job done. Did you know that Buzz Super Stun actually gets longer the farther away he hooks you from? So if you're playing Buzz, always go for those long range hooks. Auto aiming with Byron is guaranteed hit most of the time. M's max range is designed to deal max damage. So every time you spray, the last cloud wave stays a little bit more than the other clouds and therefore deals more damage. Just like Nita, Gale's attacks are wider and they offer a sneak peek mechanic, which is actually even better than Nita's sneak peek. One of the funniest moments in Brawl Stars history has to be when Supercell added the Poop Spike skin. While Chinese Brawl Stars was getting high quality skins, global players got literal poop. But the best part isn't just Spike throwing poop in battles. It's his losing animation on the end screen where he actually poops. And with certain brawlers like BB standing next to him, it looks like she's pinching her nose because of the smell. Peak comedy. Everyone knows about the Juan Carlos 0 out of 11 kit meme, but it got even funnier when Supercell actually added his 0 out of 11 player icon in a new update. In the Pro Ranked Pass update, if you buy the pass, you can unlock an icon that literally memes his loss. Juan is probably even more scared to play Kit now that Supercell made his defeat official. I think Brawl Stars players are chronically addicted to Mortis. And honestly, can you blame them? His super is insanely cool. A swarm of vampire bats that heal you while damaging enemies? Yes, please. And when it pierces through multiple targets? Pure satisfaction. But wait, throw in the rogue Mortis skin, and suddenly those bats turn into a spinning tornado that slams through enemies. It literally doesn't get cooler than that. Brawl Ball used to be fun. No, not because of that. I'm talking about the old maps with bouncers. Those maps were absolute chaos in the best way possible. You could pull off the craziest trick shots, bounce the wall off walls like you're some kind of genius, when in reality, you had no idea what you were doing. But it felt pro, and that's what mattered. Bring back the bouncers, Supercell. You know those players who somehow guess star player for absolutely no reason? Well, that's exactly what happened with this Buzz Lightyear player. He played like a total noob, stole goals, dealt no damage, and just because he happened to score twice, he ended up as star player and snatched those extra trophies from teammates who actually deserved it. It's already frustrating when this happens, but the fact that it was a Buzz Lightyear player makes it 10 times worse. This Gale got absolutely demolished for no reason. As he walked towards the center in Showdown, he spotted a bunch of El Primos and a Buzz, so he immediately started spamming the scared pin. But Buzz didn't care and went straight for him, followed by the El Primos jumping in too. Gale quickly used his tornado to escape the chaos, but just when he thought he was safe, all 4 El Primos used their super on him at the same time. Okay, that's a little bit overkill.
Supercell will make you pay to enter the training grounds. Okay, not really, but did you know there's a time limit in the training cave? In case you want to test this out, if you stay in there for about 13 minutes, the match will end. Does Supercell not want me to get better? I need to shoot these defenseless bots forever. What if you could exchange PowerPoints for other resources? For many players who've maxed out their favorite brawlers, or even all of them, PowerPoints have essentially become useless, especially after Supercell increased their drop rate. But this idea would enable you to trade PowerPoints for gold, bling, or even gems. However, let's be real. If you think gems could be free, yeah, keep dreaming.
Who can pull off the fastest turret dive in Brawl Stars history? In this custom match, we're testing just that, with speed modifiers cranked all the way up. On Team 1, we've got El Primo, and on the second side, we've got Edgar. The goal is to melt that Ike turret as fast as possible before the enemy does. Okay, we're going straight in. Oh no, it's close. And boom, we win, as always, because obviously I'm playing El Primo. What happens if you buy the Brawl Pass right as the season is ending? Well, time to find out. And my wallet's already crying. So with just a few seconds left on the clock, let's hit purchase. And the goal is to see if we get all the rewards from the season or magically skip to the next one. Yo, what the heck? We got 80 gems as compensation and absolutely none of the Brawl Pass items. Yep, turns out you just spent way more than 80 gems worth of real dollars for 80 gems. Curse you, Supercell! Can Buster deflect a nuke? Well, we don't exactly have nukes in Brawl Stars, but we do have a fun little experiment. This guy gathered a bunch of his friends and told them all to shoot him at the same time right as he pops his super. They thought they had him, but he thought otherwise. And guess what? Every single attack got deflected like they were throwing paper balls at a tank. This literally feels as if I was some kind of Brawl Stars final boss. Back in 2020, Brawl Stars completely blew up, becoming one of the most popular mobile games ever. Nearly half of today's player base actually joined that year. And with Shelly as the default brawler and tons of sweaty matches going on, new players were all looking for an easy win. That's when Shelly bush camping took over the entire game. All you had to do was charge your super, hide in a bush, and wait to blast the first unlucky enemy who walked by, usually for an instant kill. It was the perfect noob strategy, and it drove the pros insane. Shelly mains were everywhere, and they weren't playing fair. Shelly then officially became one of the most hated brawlers in the game. Did you know BB has a secret combo that lets her deal double damage? If you've got your super ready, try knocking an enemy back with your home run swing first, and then instantly launch your super during the knockback animation. It registers as 2 hits at once, and the damage doubles. Walls are Surge's best friend. And no, not just for hiding behind. At stage 4, Surge's shots actually deal more damage when they bounce off a wall. So if you see someone chilling near a wall, don't aim at them, aim at the wall. Sometimes the smartest move is doing nothing, especially if you're playing Kit. When you rush brawlers like Piper or Crow with your super, their first instinct is to super back at you. But here's the trick, just stand completely still. You'll end up dodging everything. When playing Jester, shoot first attack to set up 2-3-4 combo, which deals highest damage. Play Chuck on heist game mode and set up flags so you can rush through safe unlimited times and win the match. When you go through bushes with El Primo, spam throwing gadget to avoid close range surprises. Yay, El Primo! When you activate Draco's super, just rush. Every hit helps you reload your super, so by the time your dragon form ends, you've already got it charged again. Do it right, and you basically stay in dragon mode forever. You should use Melody's melody. Get it? Okay, alright, bad joke, I know, sorry. But seriously, her floating music notes are kinda busted. And if you really want to melt enemies, or the heist safe, just spin counterclockwise around your target. Everyone knows Hank has a charge attack. That's nothing new. But what you probably didn't know is that he can actually activate his gadget while charging. Yeah, that means he can rush straight at you and randomly slow you down in the middle of it. Dynamite's got one of the most underrated hit and run strategies in the game, and it's amazing. When things get unpredictable, try this. Toss one bomb at the enemy and one under your own feet. Because if a close range brawler tries to rush you, you jump out of there while still dealing damage. Use Jean's super to cancel the enemy's super. If you time it just right, you can completely shut down brawlers like Mandy or Frank mid-super. Just yoink them in, and the knockback will cancel their ability and push them away.
I bet you've been spawn camped before. Yeah, it's the worst. But instead of rushing in solo to fight the enemy team, here's a smarter move. Wait for your team to regroup before attacking, because if you trade kills with one of them, you'll respawn right there, but they have to cross the entire map to get back to you. So stick together and use the power of friendship. Not paying attention to this can make your brawler completely useless. In ranked matches, a random modifier gets applied to the game, and if you ignore it, you're in big trouble. For example, if the sick beats modifier is active and you pick a brawler that relies on stunning, you've basically sabotaged your whole team. On the flip side, modifiers like quick fire can make certain brawlers like Leon way more effective. So next time, check that modifier before you lock in your pick. Don't waste your bling on brawler pins or sprays. They're way too expensive for almost no payoff. Instead, you can snag a much cooler skin with animations or even profile icons for the same amount. When Buzz Lightyear joined the Brawl Stars as a limited time brawler, players loved the idea of temporary characters like him. Many suggested that every season should feature brawlers that are max level, fun to play, and easy to grind for seasonal trophies. Let's just hope we don't end up with Skibidi Toilet as the next limited time brawler. But speaking of new characters, there's an amazing concept by a player called Double Dash for a brawler named Harper. She's part of a Love Swamp trio and plays as a support. Her healing aura restores her teammates' health over time, while her attack, Strum, lets her strum her harp weapon. Her super is even cooler. She can activate a swampy aura that either heals or boosts his damage, and she can switch between the two. One of her gadgets, Swampy Savior, lets her grab the teammate with the lowest health, which is something we've never seen in Brawl Stars before. Double Dash even made a full list of her voice lines and pins. If you've got pro photoshopping skills like me, then you've got to troll your friends with fake patch notes. Grab a screenshot of the latest patch notes and add wild changes like Edgar getting a one-hit kill buff, Kid jumping all over the map, or even your mom being ended to the game. Yeah, that would probably take a few extra gigabytes to download. But speaking of making fake things, another genius way to mess with your friends is do a fake support prank call. And by that, I mean calling your friend, acting like Supercell support, and telling your friend that they are in 1 million gem debt. But don't worry, if they buy 1,000 gems on your account, it'll go away. Okay, Supercell might ban you for impersonating them after this, but hey, at least you got some laughs. Okay, maybe not. However, the most lethal thing you can do to your friend is to simply start a rumor about them in the club chat. Start telling everyone else that they've been win trading, paying to get their account boosted, stealing their parents' credit card, defrauding the entire American banking system, and selling the data to foreign countries, or that they main Edgar. Yeah, that last one is definitely the worst. Of course, your friend will instantly reply and say you're lying, so make sure to do this at times you know they aren't online, or simply get them kicked from the club altogether. Now nobody will know I was lying. Most players alternate between winning and losing non-stop, but what if you could do both at the same time? Well, it turns out this is actually possible, as when a player named Tomato753 noticed his trophy gains didn't match what he had earned, he checked his matches, only to notice that while he was queued into a game that he won, his account had also been queued into a second game, with a bot taking his place. Not only that, but you can see the games are only 6 seconds apart, proving that he managed to be in 2 places at once. If I had this superpower, you would never see me at school. Well, you would, it just wouldn't be me. How does this make any sense? I bet you didn't know that Kid can dodge attacks while using his super, at least if you're lucky enough like this Kid. First, he finished the enemy playing casually, then jumped on the enemy on the lower portion of the map, and while he did this, Colt noticed him and came for what he thought was an easy kill. But what Kid did then is accidentally activate a bug, which let him move up and down, dodging all of the bullets. Does it only look for me? Why can't I get luck like this? Today, I was checking my account. Something super suspicious popped up. A secret star drop from Supercell. So for the sake of creating one of the luckiest moments ever, I decided to open it right away. And it's Frank. Guess I'll be blinding everyone with his shiny bald head in game now. Supercell has no reason to add this idea to Brawl Stars. Now, when we think of progression inside the game, we either have Star Road, Star Drops, or Masteries. Well, what if instead of only having Masteries on Brawlers, we also had them on game modes we're playing? Not only would this open up so much space for progression, but it would be fun to have some titles that are related to specific game modes. Now I can finally prove I'm the #1 Brawl Ball player. If you played Brawl Stars in its OG days, then you would know that unbeatable nostalgic feeling of the older season. Because of that, players have suggested adding a version picker in custom games so you can relieve those older updates of the game. Not only would this let you bask in the nostalgia, but it would also give you access to some of Supercell's past mistakes, like when certain brawlers were just too overpowered. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Edgar. This battle card idea needs to be added, but the problem is not many people have unlocked all of the brawlers, and because of that, only a small group even has access to global, solar, or alien battle cards, which is why Supercell never even gave attention to making them customizable. However, for the top 0.1% of players, this would let them become way more intimidating. If you're playing Tick or Nita and you charge your super, you've probably thought the best way to use it is to throw it directly at the enemy, but that's actually wrong. The best way to use your super is by spawning it near you. That's because when spawnables appear, there's a slight delay before they can move or attack. So spawning them closer to the enemy actually makes them much faster to charge in and attack. Your team should take care of super management. This strategy involves managing your teammates' supers to maximize efficiency. For example, if your super is already charged, leave enemies for teammates who still need to charge theirs. Also, be careful not to take unnecessary damage, as that could charge the enemy's super and give a chance to completely demolish your team. Did you know players on the lower portion of the map have a slight advantage? Yup, that's because Brawl Stars game perspective is slightly tilted towards the upper portion of the map, meaning you'll have an easier time playing against enemies above you. Also, did you know you can actually tell if the enemy has reloaded their ammo? All you have to do is spot certain brawler animations. For example,
example, Tick turns his key once after reloading, Gene touches his lamp, and Sandy bobs his head. Some brawlers don't have these animations, and some even have them removed. For example, Mortis had his lamp light up if his dash bar was full. However, Supercell thought that was somehow unfair for Mortis. Since Sphinx's release, it didn't take players too long to find a way to make him a total pain. If Sphinx uses his time-slowing super in Heist and an enemy Ems comes to attack, her attack gets slowed down, but here's the crazy part. While slowed down, her attack will deal enormous damage, literally obliterating the safe in just a few seconds. I personally think that Sphinx players should just rewind time to when they didn't exist. Edgar using the like pin is already rare, but you know what's even rarer? Multiple Edgars giving thumbs up in the same match. And that's exactly what happened in the solo showdown game. Plus, there was a kid also spamming the thumbs up pin. Yeah, it's all coming to an end. Colt literally used to be a master of flames with the eternal fire glitch. When Angel was introduced, one of their abilities threw additional fire rings with each attack. But some players found an exploit. Colt's bullets counted as separate attacks, meaning spamming shots would flood the entire map with fire rings. And to make things even worse, the bullets could bounce, causing so much chaos that it would actually crash players' phones. Safe to say, this glitch did not last long. When Supercell introduced the pizza event in Brawl Stars, many players got excited thinking we'd finally get some OG skins, or maybe even a free brawler. However, when the event actually dropped and players rushed to claim the free reward, all they got was 2 bling. So in the end, Supercell didn't give us a hype event, they just scammed us with bling. This bro might just be the best 4th player on the team. In one of the most unintentionally pro plays in Brawl hockey history, Sprout used his super to block the puck, except he placed the wall in the perfect position to bounce it straight into his own goal. So while the enemy team was sliding the puck forward, Sprout basically scored it for them. It's the most noob and pro moment ever at the exact same time.
Barry's hypercharge is insanely overpowered, but there's actually a trick to charge it quickly in Showdown. If you enter the zone, take some damage, then leave and heal up, you'll start charging both your super and hypercharge. Do this repeatedly, and you can have it ready before you even see an enemy. And if you coordinate this strategy with a friend, you can charge it even faster. Piper just got insanely good at Brawl Ball, thanks to her hypercharge. Now, when she activates it, she not only jumps, but also destroys obstacles and pushes enemies away. So, if you throw the ball toward the goal and then jump on it using her hypercharge, you'll literally clear the path and score a free goal.
If you thought posting leaked free codes for legendary drops or free gems was a quick way to farm views on TikTok or YouTube, yeah, think again. Lately, Supercell's been cracking down hard on creators who do this. Why? Well, according to Danny, it just creates a ton of extra work for the support team, since people just keep asking why the fake codes don't work. So if you're part of the creator program and you pull this stunt, don't be surprised if Supercell kicks you out. Enjoy the views while they last. One way to land yourself a Brawl Stars ban in a strongly worded message from their legal team is by leaking future updates. If you somehow manage to sneak into the update and planning department and start spilling everything they've got cooking, you're asking for trouble. Brawl Stars keeps their future content super secret, but there have been a few times when players leaked unreleased brawlers and even the Brawl Stars CCTV website while it was still in development. Strangely enough, none of those players got banned. Maybe Supercell spared them since they didn't exactly break into HQ, but let's not test those limits, okay? One of the most legendary ban waves in Brawl Stars history happened back in 2021, and it was all about farming club points way faster than you were supposed to. Players used VPNs to hop between regions, joined a club, earned points, left, switched regions, joined a new club, and repeated the cycle up to 3 times. It basically turned club points into a complete joke, until Supercell stepped in, and then the only thing getting farmed was a ban on your account. Did you know that just sharing your Brawl Stars account with someone else can actually get you banned? Well, some people learned that the hard way, like pro players Kenji and Tensai. One day, they logged into their accounts and boom, banned for cheating. Fans started speculating it was modding or some shady hacks, but nope, turns out they just let their teammates, who didn't make the tournament roster, play on their accounts. Just a friendly favor, right? But instead of helping their friends live the dream, they ended up destroying their own. Nintendo might just sue Supercell for this one. A Mario Kart inspired racing map. It's got an icy track, and if you want the full experience, you have to pick Carl. He's got a minecart, so you can drift across the entire map like a pro. They can't stop me, I'm too fast! And of course, we have to mention Juan Carlos map. It's called KCP Masterclass, and honestly, what else would you expect? It's just a bunch of speed maps that look like Juan Carlos' score 0 to 11 with Kit. Some players suggested the map owner should submit it for community map voting so everyone could give it a thumbs up, but he refused. Honestly, I think Juan Carlos would have haunted him in his dreams if he actually did that. One brawler that literally broke the laws of physics in Brawl Stars is Finn. His ability is just way too satisfying to use. Sometimes it straight up breaks the game, like giving Carl a triple pickaxe spam or slowing down enemy projectiles so much it feels like you're dodging bullets in the Matrix. Yeah, Finn doesn't just play the game, he rewrites the rules. One of the most OG satisfying feelings in Brawl Stars has to be dropping Jesse's turret in the old bot boss game mode. The second Scrappy landed, it would start auto blasting bots left and right, projectiles flying everywhere. It was pure chaos and it felt amazing. Honestly, if we had Scrappy 2.0 back then, it would have been way too overpowered. The bots would not stand a chance. Now, this has to be the most lucky Hank super shot. This Hank is getting approached by Cordelius, but also at the same time, there are Colt and Stu which are shooting from sides. So, what can Hank do to save himself from those foes? He actually uses his super and lands every single shot on the enemies, eliminating the whole team. I think Hank needs to get nerfed. We've already talked about having all brawlers at 0 trophies, but YouTuber Ben Tim1 took it to a whole new level and created the ultimate cursed account. What did he do? He unlocked every single brawler while still having 0 trophies. But there was a catch. He could only use the shop, Brawl Pass, and credits. No pushing, no gameplay, just pure grind and a lot of gems. In total, it took him 91 days and a whopping $790 to pull it off. All that just to flex an account that literally never played. I bet you didn't know that there's a glitch that can make your friends think you own a skin even when you don't. It's called the skin pin glitch, and it gives you the pin for a skin you never actually unlocked. One player even had the Grom skin pin, but surprise, no Grim skin in sight. You could spam the pin all you want and flex like you own it, but never actually use the skin so you don't look like a total noob. This weird little bug can sometimes pop up from star drops, so yeah, keep an eye out. Now With a Hat officially has the most cursed Brawl Stars account ever, and it's all thanks to Supercell. During one of her streams, Supercell hit her up with a challenge. If she could get 1,000 likes on a post within 24 hours, they would reward her with the gold tick skin. And guess what? She did it. Over 1,000 likes, challenge complete. But here's the weird part. To unlock a gold skin, you need to own the silver skin first. Except Nat doesn't. She skipped straight to gold tick without silver. She's literally the only player in the world with this glitchy flex. There's nothing more mind-blowing than breaking the rules of Brawl Stars by pushing the limits of the game itself. One of those insane limits was the historic world record for most healing, and it was pulled off by a player named Kevo using Hank. This dude managed to heal a jaw-dropping 23 million health points in one match. Yeah, 23 million. We need a Hank nerf. But this next record is straight up mind-blowing. It's the world record for the trick shot with the most bounces, and it was all pulled off by a player named Nico-san. To make it happen, he used a map packed with bouncers and had his friends bring Sprout to throw walls and add even more ricochets. After a bunch of perfectly timed plays and total chaos, the ball ended up bouncing 17 times before scoring. 17! That's not just a trick shot, that's art. I bet you've never seen a save this insane. Joker was cornered in Brawl Ball, with Surge ready to jump and Tara holding the ball. Looked like an easy goal, until Joker casually walked into his own goal, baited the pass, and popped his gadget, stole the ball, and wiped them all out. Easily one of the greatest saves in Brawl Stars history. If you lined up Max and Jae-Young side by side in a race, Jae-Young would leave her in the dust. Yep, he's officially faster than the fastest brawler in the game. And if Max ever handed him her energy drink, he would probably break space and time. Did you know it was actually possible to get 32 trophies from a single match? And no, I'm not talking about stacking underdog in a win streak. I mean a legit game mode that handed out 32 trophies by itself. It was called Trophy Escape, and if you managed to collect all the trophies before your opponents, boom, 32 trophies in one go. That's actually insane. Willow can control 2 enemies at the same time. And no, this isn't a glitch. Here's how it works. All you need is Sphinx, who should replace his super. Then you fire Willow super at an enemy and recharge it instantly. Now fire a second super at a different target. Boom! You've just mind controlled both enemies at once. Hey, just one question real quick. Why so serious? Okay, yeah. Okay, that was weird. But this is a typical thing a Chester main says. When Chester first dropped, he wasn't just a joker. He was a broker. He was broken. Get it? Okay, I'll stop. Anyway, Supercell introduced this chaotic, unpredictable brawler with randomized supers and insane burst damage. His 4-ball attack could literally one-shot half the most of brawlers. But if we're pointing fingers at what made him truly busted, it was totally that stun super. It didn't just lock you in place, it hit like a truck and basically guaranteed a free kill. Thankfully, Supercell nerfed him hard hard, but let's be real. Even today, Chester's still a complete menace. Back in the beta days of Brawl Stars, Daryl wasn't just rolling. He was basically a car. His super had such insane rage that he could fly across the entire map with one spin, crash into you with those shotguns, and delete you in seconds. And even after global release, he still came with a handful of bugs. Honestly, Daryl might have been Supercell's first $10 walking glitch nightmare. Jesse's turret is not supposed to chill in the middle of the open field. Dropping it out in the open just gives long-range brawlers an easy time getting rid of it. But if you place it behind a wall, it can catch enemies off guard, shooting them when you're too busy fighting your teammate and actually survive more than 5 seconds. Whenever you hit someone with B's super and slow them down, just start spamming auto-aim like there's no tomorrow. Seriously, with how slow they move, your shots will land like 99% of the time. Use Mr. P's gadget when his porter is low health because it'll regenerate it to max health. When playing Clancy, all you need to do is rush to his stage 3 mode as soon as possible. Shoot at 82 degrees with Mo to make his attack deal double damage. Many players don't realize this, but auto-aiming with Rosa is one of the worst things you can do. Yeah, she's a tank, but her range is actually longer than most people think. So if you're just spamming auto-aim, you're throwing away half her potential. Just like with any other ranged brawler, you gotta predict where your enemies are moving and aim your shots for max damage. Carl might be a decent miner, but there's one thing he's really built for. Absolutely obliterating boxes. If you throw him into a custom match, surround him in a bunch of power cube boxes, and then activate his super, it's game over for those boxes. He just spins like a madman and shreds everything around him. It's one of the most satisfying things you'll ever see in Brawl Stars. Speaking of demolition, Bo might just be the perfect guy for the job, but instead of blowing stuff up the usual way, let's see just how many times he can stack on the map. So if you head into the training grounds and just start spamming his super, turns out you can place an infinite number of mines. And yeah, it actually works. But here's the real question. What happens if you hit his exploding gadget after all that? Oh no. Squeak's super is already insane when it comes to the splash damage, but what happens if we stack it? For that, you have to convince all your friends to pick Squeak so you could create the ultimate demolition squad. Line up a bunch of boxes, count it down, and the moment all those supers hit at once, boom. I'm pretty sure they just nuked Supercell servers. Let's talk about the biggest apocalypse Brawl Stars has ever seen, when players completely forget that regular brawlers even existed. Yeah, I'm talking about the Buzz Lightyear takeover during the Toy Story collab in 2024 to 2025. For the first time ever, Supercell dropped a limited time brawler that you could only play during the event. Max rank, max hypercharge, 3 different modes to choose from, and of course, they made him completely overpowered. Every match was just Buzz Lightyear versus Buzz Lightyear. Other brawlers might as well have been deleted. And when Supercell was asked about it, they just said they wanted to make him fun to play. Fun? It was a war zone, Supercell. In the 2025 update that removed masteries, Supercell accidentally unleashed what they'd probably call a bunch of $10 problems. And one of those problems brought Janet right back to her title as the most hated brawler in the game, because she got a glitch that gave her infinite hypercharges. Literally, use her hypercharge once, and every super after that is going to be hypercharged. She could stay in the air and aim her bombs easily. Thanks, Supercell, for inventing new ways for players to rage.
This is one of the most common mistakes players make: missing your daily freebies. Not only are these a great way to rack up extra resources for your account, but you might also hit the jackpot and score a huge reward on any random day. So don't forget to check it regularly. And it's -5 gems. Woohoo! Have you ever been caught up by another player while using Leon's invisibility and thought they were cheating? Well, they're not. They just had their volume cranked up and could hear your footsteps even though you were invisible. So if you're playing with your sound off, it's basically like giving those players superpowers. Turn your volume up. Your team needs to know where to go. One of the biggest mistakes teams make is funneling. In other words, all grouping up in the same spot on the map. This makes your entire team as an easy target, especially for brawlers with AoE attacks. So next time you play, make sure everyone picks a lane, left, right, or middle, and stick to it. Did you know that even if your team funnels, they can still end up in bad matchups? If you're getting destroyed by a brawler that completely counters you, don't just stand there and take it. Talk to your teammate who can handle that enemy and swap lanes. And don't stop there. Keep switching positions throughout the match, because trust me, the other team is doing the exact same thing. You have to always stay 2 steps ahead. Sometimes players on your team deserve to get sent to the gulag. Okay, maybe not that extreme, but reporting players should be possible in every mode, not just ranked. If this was added, I'd probably report people non-stop and every single one of my teammates would end up banned. Brawl Stars fans might actually be better at designing skins than Supercell. Magician Grey is a fan-made skin concept by Buddha Dad, and it's absolutely incredible. The design perfectly matches Gray's theme and lore. Honestly, it's way better than any of his current skins. But for some reason, Supercell passed on it. Maybe they were just jealous because a fan outperformed them? Imagine spinning a wheel every day to get a free reward. Well, that was essentially the idea behind the Daily Lucky Wheel, a freebie system that would be way more fun than the usual freebies we get. Some players even suggested a version where you could spin to unlock brawlers, which I don't really think is needed. Would be quite cool. Add the wheel, Supercell. Bounty is already an infuriating mode, but if you really want to mess with your friends, pick the brawler with the lowest health. Right now, that's Tick, and if you have him at level 1, he'll just have 2,200 health, making him an easy one-shot target for most brawlers. Good luck surviving that. Speaking of Tick, his head bomb is probably one of the most annoying things in the game, but we're about to make it a million times worse. Just pick El Primo, and when Tick launches his super at you, use Primo's gadget to throw the head bomb straight over to your teammates. And boom! Just tell your friends they'll need to get better at playing hot potato. There are tons of ways to troll in Brawl Ball, but the most infuriating one has to be passing the ball to teammates while they're mid-fight. It's the worst because when you pass the ball, it eats up 1 ammo when they shoot it, and if they're playing Mortis or BB, it wastes their fully charged attack. That not only leaves them vulnerable, but also gives the enemies a huge advantage, and they'll probably pass the ball to them by accident. Frank's noise cancelling gadget can cancel every stun in the game, making it super useful, except when you use it in a mode with no stuns. So to piss everyone off, pick this gadget in a ranked match with the Sick Beats modifier, which completely removes all stun abilities. Now you've got a gadget that does literally nothing, and your teammates? Yeah, they're probably furious. Way to go! Buster is known for one thing, deflecting almost any attack thrown at him, but if you really want to mess with your teammates, use a brilliant way to misuse his super. When your teammate expects you to protect them, just turn your shield the opposite way, completely exposing them to enemy attacks. They'll take all the damage, and if they ask why you're not deflecting, just say, "Don't worry, I'm keeping your back safe." Perfect teamwork, right? Sprouts with hypercharges might think that they're unstoppable against Cordelius, but think again. If you get pulled into Cordelius's dimension after deploying your hypercharged super, you'll notice something strange. It won't deal any damage to Cordelius inside the dimension, even though you can still see the wall. Uh-oh. Did you know you can make Carl's pickaxe disappear? If you've got a Gray on your team, have him throw his teleport super on the ground. Then, right as Carl throws his pickaxe, go through the teleporter, and boom! The pickaxe vanishes into thin air. Guess his pickaxe teleported straight into Minecraft. One of the luckiest parts of Brawl Stars has to be the star drops. During the legendary drops event, one player got insanely lucky, but in the weirdest way possible. Every time they opened a legendary drop, Supercell gave them everything related to Max, from Max herself to her hypercharge, and even 2 skins for her. At this point, you just have to become a Max main. It's the prophecy. But speaking of star drops, this player hit the jackpot. While opening his legendary drops from the event, he pulled 3 legendary skins, with the rarest drop only having a 1.73% chance of happening. What makes it even more interesting is that it's a brand new account. Yeah, you can't tell me that beginner's luck isn't real. This spike moment is both satisfying and lucky at the same time. While he was in a duo with Angelo and Brock, his teammate got eliminated. However, both of the enemies ended up with low HP. To avenge his teammates, he threw a random spike ball, and the spiraling spikes eliminated both of the enemies in one shot. Would it be this satisfying if I got poked by Spike? Nope. No, it would not. I think this is probably the chillest Terra Shadow out there. While there's a furious battle ongoing, Terra's Shadow literally eliminated all enemies without being damaged. And after that, it simply walks away like nothing happened. Even a chill guy isn't as chill as this Shadow. But speaking of kudos, one idea suggests that they could be a reward in Star Road. And the more kudos you give out, the more rewards you'll get for doing it. It's sad Supercell decided to reject this idea, because if they did, we would get total world peace. Now, if Supercell wanted to add additional thrill and fun to their game, they should add more 5v5 game modes. Of course, modes like 5v5 Knockout have been absolutely hated by the community, but come on! You can't tell me that a 5v5 Hot Zone mode wouldn't get crazy. Just imagine having a giant circle that takes forever to fill up. There would be so many kills. Everyone knows getting credits can be super annoying. Imagine saving up for a future brawler coming next season, but then you get a star drop and get unexpected credits, forcing you to unlock the brawler you're currently working on instead. To fix this, players suggested that Supercell should add an option to choose where those credits go, whether to your current brawler, fame, or credit bank. If you see a map full of bushes and want to dominate, pick Bo with his circling eagle star power. This ability lets you and your teammates see a wider radius inside bushes, giving you a huge advantage. With this, sneaky enemies like Edgar won't catch you off guard anymore. Back to the lobby!
Here's a pro tip every player should know. Don't hold on to your gadgets and supers for too long. In most cases, waiting for the perfect moment means you might never use them effectively, or even worse, you might just get eliminated before you have the chance. However, if this is you, remember that supers can be recharged and gadgets come with at least 3 charges. So try to use them wisely, but don't hesitate. You're better off taking the shot than missing your chance entirely. Here's a strategy that might seem toxic, but is actually genius in Brawl Ball. When the enemy team gets completely wiped and you have a free shot at the goal, don't rush to score. If it's your first goal, spinning and delaying it takes precious time away from the enemy team in the next round, making it harder for them to do a comeback. I bet you've seen those annoying quests where you have to deal a ridiculous 300,000 damage with a certain brawler. Everyone knows it's pretty easy if you get a good damage dealer, but if you pull Poco, you're basically doomed. Seriously, how are you supposed to deal that much damage with a healer? And it's even worse if you've already used up all your quest rerolls. At that point, you might as well just close the game and touch some grass. If you're playing a brawler with a turret like Penny or 8-Bit, you probably place it safely behind a wall, right? Well, then comes Brock, who can literally shoot his rocket over the wall and destroy your sentry with his splash damage like he's got built-in wall hacks. No, my turret! That one had a special hand-engraved Balootic on it. Willow's mind control is straight up broken in Brawl Ball. Her super is so overpowered it's ridiculous, and Supercell still hasn't fixed it. She can literally hijack a teammate who's carrying the ball, walk straight to your own goal, and score, because you can't even attack your teammates to stop it. This glitch is insane, and yeah, I'm definitely blaming my teammate and Supercell for that self-goal. Teammates that don't care about their team are the worst, especially when you're up against Squeak. He throws his bomb on your teammates, and instead of running away, that genius teammate runs straight towards you, explodes, and takes both of you out. That's literally killing 2 birds with 1 rock. Speaking of clutches, this enemy team accidentally clutched against themselves. In a Brawl hockey match, the blue team completely messed up and all got wiped, leaving the goal wide open. But just as the enemy was about to score the easiest goal of their life, Ollie misclicked and kicked the ball in the wrong direction, causing it to bounce all over the map and escape. Then, Melody from the blue team respawned, dashed toward the puck, and pulled off the ultimate reverse Uno. Now that's embarrassing. Imagine being one of the best players in the world. Well, that's exactly what happened when a random player stumbled into a match with Crestal, one of the top Brawl Stars pros and creators out there. But instead of getting destroyed, they absolutely wiped the floor with him and his team in no time. So, is he really one of the best players anymore? This has got to be a 1 in a million Brock clutch in duo showdown. He was stuck in a final 2-team fight, getting pushed by both enemies at once, and it looked like he was done for. But somehow, he pulled off the impossible. He used his super to take out one enemy, then instantly popped his jump gadget to dodge all of the incoming shots, and finished the last player with a single rocket. Okay, someone hired this guy for esports. But this player encountered one of the rarest moments in Brawl Stars. While playing solo showdown, he ran into an Edgar. Pretty chilling already. But then he engaged in combat, and Edgar actually ended up taking him out. And that's when something really rare happened. Edgar used the thumbs up emote. Yeah, Edgar being friendly? This might just be a sign that the end of the world is near. Most players think Brawl Stars bugs only exist inside the game. I mean, that's pretty logical, right? But Supercell didn't quite follow that logic, because even their ads have bugs in them. And just to make it even worse, the ad looked like something out of a clickbaity cash grab game. Ironic. It showed brawlers with tons of trophies, but the season trophy box counter didn't match at all. On top of that, the icons for these counters were completely off their positions. At this point, we just have to admit, Brawl Stars is truly a bugged game. We've seen brawlers go invisible before, but did you know there's another way they can disappear? In some casual matches, brawlers randomly turn into white stripes that move in a strange way, creating a bizarre visual effect. What's even weirder is that there's never an event where brawlers could turn invisible like this, yet these glitches make it seem like an actual feature. Could this mean Supercell once planned an invisible mode and then abandoned it? Who knows? If you ever wondered what an OG Brawl Stars bug looked like, well, here it is. This was the infamous move glitch, where players would get stuck on their spawn, completely unable to move. And just look how old this is. Even Brawl Stars itself was still in vertical mode. No matter the era, Supercell always finds a way to frustrate players with bugs. This buzz literally humiliated a teamer in the most brutal way possible. In a solo showdown match with 4 players left, all of them were teaming while Buzz was stuck in the center of the map. But just when they thought they had the upper hand, Buzz activated his hypercharge and dashed toward a wall right where El Primo was hiding. His stun actually stunned Primo through the wall, and Buzz kept spamming his super to keep him stunned long enough for the zone to finish him off. That's what you get for teaming. I don't know why no one one's talking about Belle's grounded star power? Because it's actually insane. When she marks an enemy with her attack, they lose the ability to reload for 5 whole seconds. To put that into perspective, if they've just spammed all their ammo and you land your shot, they'll literally be standing there doing nothing for 5 seconds. That's an eternity in Brawl Stars. I mean, that star power's name is literally exactly what it says. So yeah, you should definitely be using it. If you're struggling with Grom, then you're not playing him right. So when you play certain maps with limited passages, just make sure to throw his attack in the center of the crossroad so that it guaranteedly damages the enemy instead of trying to follow the enemy's pattern. Frank's hyper is kind of scam. So if you're going against Frank who's about to use his hypercharged super, you can actually dodge his attack if you're standing in the right spot. Even though his attack shows it's 360 attack, in reality it's not, and you can dodge it. I guess Supercell really loves to prank Frank users the most. Did you know that under Supercell's official fair play rules, getting political in any way can actually get you suspended? Yep, doesn't matter if you're supporting someone or roasting them during their campaign, bringing real world politics into Brawl Stars is a big no-no. So I guess that means no more I vote for El Primo badges. Sad times. I bet you didn't know that using gem generators, yeah, those fake ones that never work, can actually get you permanently banned. Even though they're scams that just try to steal your info, if the owner of that sketchy website decides to snitch and hand your data over to Supercell, you're done. So basically, you can get banned for trying something that doesn't even work. Maybe instead of generating gems, try generating a job. This map was clearly made to just farm likes, but at least some effort went into it, unlike those lazy please like maps. The creator even made a sequel called For OJ that has cheese inside of it with the text. Normally, I'd roast maps like this, but honestly, I kind of respect this one. At least they put in the time and effort to make something decent. Back in the day, some community maps could actually make you overpowered. They did this by giving players mutations. Yeah, just like the ones from the old Godzilla event. And if you played that event, you know how broken those mutations were. Some players even suspect that these maps were hacked just to add those overpowered mutations. Did you know you can technically play Squid Game in Brawl Stars? There's a Squid Game inspired map, but don't get too excited. It's not a full recreation of the games from the show. It's just the final game called Squid Game. Honestly, it would be awesome if we had some kind of mod to turn this into an actual game mode, but for now, it's more of a decorative map than anything functional. I'm a legend, Balootic. Do you have a crush but are too scared to ask them out? Well, this map might just fix that. It's called the I Love You map, and it has a heart with the text I love you on it. So next time you see your crush, just hand her phone with this map loaded up. And yeah, you're definitely staying single forever. You know what's the best flex in Brawl Stars? Owning every single skin from a collection, like all of them. And if it's something limited, like the SpongeBob skins, oh man, that's next level bragging rights. You get to flex so hard your friends start rolling their eyes, muting the group chat, and maybe even blocking you. But hey, they only hate you because they ain't you. If you're a Piper Pro, I've got some great news. You've got one of the most satisfying playstyles in the entire game. It's like playing a balloon popping simulator with explosives. Every shot goes pew and boom, one tap delete. Watching enemies disappear from across the map? Mwah, chef's kiss. Honestly, it's a skill worth bragging about. Gale is easily one of the most underrated brawlers in the game. His powers aren't just strong, they're hilarious. Like, if someone tries to dash straight into you, just drop a launch pad and watch them go flying across the map. Bonus points if they land in the poison zone on a community map and instantly get deleted. It's not just a win, it's a humiliation. Gale doesn't just beat you, he embarrasses you. Did you know there's a club in Brawl Stars that's just as legendary as it is cursed? It's real, and it's called the Star Legendary Club. And yeah, the name says it all. This club only has 7 members, and every single one of them has exactly 1 legendary brawler, all at level 1 and 0 trophies. It's like the Avengers, but inside the Brawl Stars. What's even crazier is how insanely rare it is to pull a legendary as your first ever brawler. This club isn't just legendary, it's basically ultra legendary. This one micro player had everyone completely confused with his stats. At first glance, he's just got 1,000 trophies, but somehow over 12,000 3v3 victories? And his highest trophy count? Only 10,000, which makes no sense. How can someone have more wins than trophies? Well, players finally cracked the code. Turns out, he was probably using the classic trophy escape method, grinding wins while purposely dropping trophies. Did you know that Supercell once accidentally created a bunch of cursed accounts? Back in 2020, they dropped an exclusive Brawl-a-Day skin, Red Nose Nita, and it was supposed to be a one-time thing. If you missed it, too bad, because it's never supposed to come back. So players who bought it felt like they owned one of the rarest skins of the game until Supercell messed up. They accidentally made the skin available in content creator shops for 30,000 elixir years later. And not only did those creators get the skin, they also got 3 extra copies for giveaways. So yeah, suddenly a bunch of players were rocking a skin that should have been gone forever. And just like that, cursed accounts were born. Did you know that Tribe literally made made everyone's jaw drop with a 24-second win? Yep, it actually happened. They were up against SSGB, and the second the match started, they went straight for the heist safe. The map gave them the perfect setup, so they brought in BB to bounce her bubblegum, while Daryl and Barley just melted the safe. And boom, game over in 24 seconds. That's literally a speed run. Back in the days when Siege was still a thing, Team Totem pulled off one of the greatest comebacks in Brawl Stars history. They were on the ropes, the enemy team had built up bolts, summoned the boss robot, and dropped Totem's turret all the way down to 1%. Most people would have called it game over right there, but not Totem. They turned things around, gathered just enough bolts to spawn their own boss, and sent it charging toward the enemy. The clock was ticking, 15 seconds left, and the enemy turret was still sitting at 85%. But with some absolutely insane plays, Totem pulled off the impossible and dropped it to 0. You could say they had a Totem of Undying. Now this comeback play is a straight up masterpiece. In this heist match, the red team had the upper hand the entire time. Everyone thought it was over for blue, but then Colette had a genius moment. Instead of defending, she slips past everyone, dodging attacks like a ninja, and heads straight for the enemy safe. And just before the timer hits 0, she pops her hypercharged super and blasts the safe for massive damage. Game over, the blue team wins it in literally the final seconds. Most players know that indestructible walls in Brawl Stars look like this, but what they don't know is that back in the OG days, they looked like this. Literal scrap blocks. Detailed, rugged, and actually fit the map vibe perfectly. But then, Supercell looked at them one day and said, nah, and replaced them with the plain, unbreakable walls we have now. So yeah, feels like Brawl Stars went through reverse evolution with this one. Did you know that Trio Showdown actually existed before it was officially added? Yep, and it wasn't some secret game mode. It was a full-on bug. Back in the day, the game would sometimes throw you into a match with 2 random teammates instead of just 1. Totally busted. And even worse, that meant one poor player on the enemy team was left completely solo. Just imagine loading into a match and realizing you're that guy. But that's not as crazy as the time you could actually win a gem grab match with just 1 gem. Yeah, not 10. 1. There was a glitch where the second you picked up a gem, the game thought you somehow hit the magic number and instantly started the countdown. The other team would just sit there, completely confused, wondering how you got 10 gems in the first 15 seconds. And by the time they realized it was a bug, it was already over. What happens when you make every brawler stronger with the spice of the RNG? You get one of the most controversial updates ever. Mutations. Introduced during the Godzilla update, these let you roll a random ability that boosted your brawler in weird ways. Some were completely useless, and others were completely overpowered, like Rico, whose bullets could bounce infinitely, basically turning him into a 1-brawler army. Supercell realized pretty fast that this was a huge mistake and rushed to fix it later in the event, but by then, players had already abused the OP mutations and skyrocketed up the ranks. This concept was brought to many events afterward, and yeah, not exactly a fan favorite update. Let's rewind back to the OG days when Shelly got her brand new star power, Band-Aid. And this thing, it was beyond broken. Essentially, whenever Shelly dropped below 40% HP, she'd heal all the way back to full. Yeah, full health. So what did that mean? Pure chaos. Shelly players could just run non-stop, play ultra aggressive, and never worry about dying. And the worst part, Supercell decided to go on vacation right when this dropped. So we were stuck with unkillable Shelly for almost 2 whole months. I can already picture the showdown lobbies filled with Shellys. Use Nani's shield star power in the hot zone. While she's in her super, it blocks a whopping 80% of all damage. So while enemies are panicking and trying to blast you out of the zone, you're just chilling there claiming it for free. Use Sandy's gadget to stun enemies right as they try to block your goal shot, and you'll get a free goal. When enemies rush you while you're playing Tick, there's one thing you should always have ready: his self-destruction gadget. The second they get too close, just push them away. Keep your enemies on high freeze with Lou, because this way they'll deal less damage to you. Pam is overpowered against brawlers with low reload speed. When you're out of your ammo, just use her instant ammo reload gadget to spray enemies again. To increase Sprout's attack range, bounce his attacks off the wall. Did you know that Lou is actually the brawler that can make the most numbers pop up on your screen at once? Yeah, seriously. We got a full squad of Lous all throwing their supers on top of a healing pad at the same time. They're freezing each other, taking damage, healing non-stop, and the screen just exploded with numbers everywhere. Speaking of Sprout, did you know there's an illegal map that lets you cover the entire map with his wall? Yep, someone figured out how to place barrels in just the right spot so that when Sprout uses uses his super, it spreads across the whole map like wildfire. So let's see how it actually looks. We hop in, line up the throw, drop the super, and boom! The wall covers everything. Well, except for a few tiny little corners, but still, this map upgrades Sprout's super. Tick's situation was completely out of hand. This brawler was basically bombing the entire server, and everyone hated it. When his hypercharge dropped in 2024, it gave his main bomb a bunch of extra bombs after it exploded. And here's the crazy part, it recharged both his super and hypercharge insanely fast. Now add in his regular attacks, his gadget that multiplies bombs, and event mutations, and yeah, the whole map basically turned into a landmine field. Did you know Lou got a totally unnecessary buff that made Brawl Stars players lose their minds? Yep, it happened at the end of 2024 when Supercell randomly decided to buff his reload speed. Oh, and let's not forget, that was the exact time he got his overpowered hypercharge. So now we had Lou, who was already pretty decent, suddenly freezing the entire map. And honestly, that South Park style skin kind of felt like Supercell sent us a message for Lou's buff. The SpongeBob event in 2024 was fun, unless you ran into Colt, because during that event, his chum balls turned him into the most hated brawler in the entire game. For the first time ever, players were begging to not see Colt go against them, because his passive ability basically gave him homing bullets, and not just slightly assisted shots. These things curved around corners and locked onto enemies even if you shot in the wrong direction.
Did you know you can use Mastery credits as a sneaky way to buy newly released brawlers? Master League rewards give you credits to unlock brawlers, but don't claim them right away. If you're not interested in the current choices, save those credits as a backup. When a new brawler drops, Supercell gives you about 14 days to unlock them earlier, no matter where you are on the star road. So after the brawler is released, just grab those saved credits and unlock them instantly. This is especially useful if you've already maxed out the star road and are stuck grinding fame, because to be honest, fame sucks. If you're bad with certain brawlers, here's a tip. Don't think about teaming. Teaming in solo showdown is one of the worst things you can do, and it ruins the experience for everyone. Plus, it's only a matter of time before other players start hating you and backstabbing you anyways. There's a reason duo showdown exists, so maybe try that instead and stop ruining everyone's day. If you want to maximize your progress in Brawl Stars, then make sure to never skip your daily quests. These are separate from weekly quests and give you an extra 400 XP for tasks that are super easy to complete. To put it into perspective, with a 28-day season, that's an extra 11,200 XP just waiting for you. Everyone hates token doublers. They barely add any value and just end up wasting your precious star drop rewards. So some players suggested deleting them altogether. However, Supercell rejected this idea real quick. If Supercell got paid in token doublers, maybe they'd reconsider. This might be the wildest idea yet. Voice chat in Brawl Stars. Imagine hopping into a match, ready to chat with your teammates, or, you know, get blasted by someone's ear-splitting mic. Yeah, I'd say they've got a pretty solid reason for keeping this feature out of the game. There is no reason for draws to exist. Players have been begging Supercell to either make them harder to occur or remove them entirely. In other Supercell games like Clash Royale, after overtime, hitting a draw is practically impossible, with a 0.01% chance of it happening. So why not make Brawl Stars the same? I'll tell you why. Because that would require the devs to use logic. The absolute worst thing you can do to a Gus main? Steal his ghost. And guess what? That's exactly what you're going to do. When Gus throws his balloon and it drops a ghost pickup for healing, just swoop in and snag it for yourself. Heal up while he watches in disbelief, then brace yourself for a flood of 1,000 thumbs down emotes. Here's how you can trap your friends in Showdown using only Brock. First, pick Brock and start a match with your friend. They'll think it's just a regular game, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Charge up your super and aim it at a corner, then use your gadget right after firing to cancel the full super, so it only breaks one tile of the wall. Now, just wait for your teammate to respawn, jump into that single broken tile using your gadget, and voila, they are completely stuck. Bonus points if you spin and spam pins to rub it in. Speaking of trapping your teammates, Dynamite can pull off a similar but way better trick. On a map with large wall structures, you can throw his super to break a bunch of the tiles inside. Then, when your teammate respawns, just jump into the broken tile with your star power equipped, trapping them all over again. Now they're stuck, and somehow you're still the most useless teammate. Get it? Because Dynamite sucks. If your friend is a toxic hit main, here's the perfect way to teach him a lesson. When they use their super to heal you in a showdown and end up stuck on top of you, just walk straight into the danger zone, and now you've both lost the match. You know that feeling when Colette runs over you mid-battle? Yeah, I feel like I just encountered A-Train. Well, there is a way to completely counter this. Next time you're up against Colette, pick Fang, and when she tries to pull off her super, Fang can simply use his Corn Fu gadget to stun her in the middle of attack. Did you know there's a hidden Easter egg in Eve's ship? If you go to the brawler menu and tilt her head around just right, you'll spot pictures of her kids hanging inside. This might mean Eva's a loving, caring mom, or maybe not.
This Dynamite was just trying to save his teammate Bo in the hot zone, but with Rosa and Kenji closing in, things weren't looking too good. Bo went down, leaving Dynamite alone against both of them. An impossible situation, right? But what happened next was the luckiest clutch ever. In a panic, Dynamite threw his super straight into the wall, but at the exact same moment, Rosa and Kenji rushed in for the easy win, only to get absolutely obliterated. Now that's bombastic. Everyone knows Miko can't attack on water, and this Juju just had enough luck to be in a 1v1 on a map with water. As Miko desperately tried to reach Juju, who casually walked on water, she trolled him with sprays and kept running until the zone finished him off. It's safe to say Miko's biggest enemy is water, probably why he threw his phone into the lake after the match. Did you know Supercell rejected tons of Brawl Stars logo designs before picking the one we all know today? If you've ever seen the official Brawl Stars artwork book, there's a whole page showcasing these scrapped ideas, and surprisingly, they all look almost identical. Honestly, these rejected logos might not have made it into the game, but they look cool as stickers. Did you know Brawl Stars was almost called Project Laser? That's right. Originally, it was going to be a futuristic, space-themed game instead of the Wild West-inspired one we know today. The concept included rockets and sci-fi pickups, and some of these assets were even left in the game files by accident. While the idea of Project Laser sounds pretty cool, it's hard to imagine Brawl Stars without its iconic Western vibe. Did you know you can stay in the zone until it wipes out enemies? While the old Miko and Charlie strategy might have been patched, there's a new Nani x Charlie strategy. Spoiler alert, you have to pass the Nani driving test. However, here's how it's done. As the zone is about halfway across the map, Charlie gets eliminated in the zone while Nani charges her super. Then, exactly 6 seconds before Charlie respawns, Nani goes into the zone and also gets eliminated. If timed perfectly, Charlie should respawn and activate her gadget that puts her in a protective web, which heals her over time. Once Nani is back, she uses her super with the star power that grants 80% damage reduction right after her immunity shield wears off. Finally, Charlie respawns again and uses her gadget, staying in the zone until the enemies are completely wiped out. But speaking of Nani, here's a pro tip to dodge her super. When Nani launches Peep to chase you, simply start turning to the side so Peep follows in that direction. Keep moving in circles and you'll confuse it completely. Peep's turning speed just can't keep up. Who would have guessed dodging it could be that easy? Most players don't realize that Willow can do this. In Showdown, if you're the last one standing against another player, you can just use Willow's mind control super to take control of your enemy and move them deep into the poison zone. They'll be completely helpless and ultimately trolled. Getting eliminated is already frustrating, but it's even worse when you've just charged up your hypercharge, ready to demolish the enemy team, only to get instantly killed the moment you activate it. There should definitely be some kind of short invisibility window after using a hypercharge. Seeing Mandy in Knockout is probably every player's worst nightmare, and it's all because of her super. Imagine you're walking toward the middle with your team, all grouped up, and then bam, Mandy's super comes straight at all 3 of you. Yeah, that's when you know it's time to log off for the day. Everyone loves power cubes, but you've probably had the moment where someone swoops in and steals a cube right after you open a box or took down an enemy, right in front of your brawler. This is especially frustrating when you're playing Piper since her shots only deal high damage from a distance, meaning you can't grab the cube fast enough. We seriously need to start saying, swiper, no swiping. This Colt accidentally triggered one of the rarest glitches in the game. While playing Hockey Brawl to warm up for ranked, he shot the puck toward the left side, only for it to bounce off literal air and somehow go straight into the goal. No walls, no brawlers, just air. And honestly, this is exactly why the community called Supercell Bugacell. This is easily one of the craziest close call clutches in Brawl Stars history. In a heist match, the enemy team brought the safe down to just 7%, and it looked like a guaranteed win. That was until Daryl rushed in, took out one of the enemies, and opened up the path for Brock and Jesse to charge forward. Then the 15-second countdown started ticking, and in the last second push, both Brock and Jesse activated their hypercharges and melted the enemy safe down to 4%, stealing the win right before the clock hit 0. The enemy team probably boiled their phones after that one. I bet you didn't know you could literally get jump scared in Brawl Stars. Well, the pin jump scare glitch did exactly that. Every pin would suddenly blow up in size, covering half your screen so fast that it could actually startle players. And instead of just disappearing, they would grow out of the screen in the most chaotic way possible. The true reason behind this glitch is still unknown, but one thing's for sure, it was terrifying. Though, to be honest, I wouldn't mind getting jump scared by Melody. Anyways, most players know that bots can be weird, especially when they just hide in bushes all game. But what you probably didn't know is that they can actually sync up. There used to be a glitch in Duo Showdown where a team of bots would accidentally share the same movement, acting as a single brawler. You could spot them because they'd always be in the exact same place, moving together. Now that is something you'd call double trouble. Get it? Because it's like double the trouble. I bet Chester is the brawler you use the least, but players picked him even less when this glitch appeared. As we all know, Chester's attacks are randomized, meaning you can get one of 4 different attacks for both his regular shots and super. But if you used his super, got the Pop Rocks version, and then immediately died, the attack would deal 0 damage, even though it's supposed to create a damaging area effect. Maybe this is why Chester is a joker. You know something's seriously wrong when you start seeing Brawl Stars' code on your screen. Either you're a hacker or the developers completely messed up. And that actually happened once when a new ranked season was introduced. Usually the introduction screen shows the new modifiers and maps added to the ranked cycle, but instead, players were greeted with a code snippet saying no modifiers, and that the modifier setting was set to 0. Definitely not something you're supposed to see. Accidentally flicking the ball and missing your shot in Brawl Ball is probably one of the most embarrassing things that can happen in Brawl Stars, and that's exactly what happened to this Colette player. After using her super to launch the ball towards the goal, it actually had a chance to go in, but it bounced off when an enemy briefly touched it. Then, with every enemy down and the goal wide open, Colette walked right up and flicked the ball to the left. And the worst part is that the match ended in a draw, which means the whole game was a complete waste of everyone's time. Never put El Primo and Lola on the same team, because if you do, El Primo will literally kick Lola straight in the face. Did you know that Cordelius is kind of way too suspicious? If you go to his pin collection and spam these exact 2 pins, he actually says something weird. I think Cordelius might have gone a bit too far with this one. Okay, I bet you never play Doug, but for the 0.001% of players who do, here's a mistake you need to avoid. Don't use your super right before you die. If you're already in a fight and things are getting dicey, the better move is to use your super early, then go aggressive and try to charge it again. That way, if you get taken out, you'll revive and already be on your way to another super. Hot dogs never die! Everyone thinks Larry and Lori just never got enough nerfs, and honestly, they're probably right. But if you're actually playing them, there's a trick that completely demolishes everyone. It involves the weapon swap gadget, which normally swaps weapons before you and Lori, but there's a way to make both of you have the same weapons. First, spawn Lori and use the gadget. He'll get the thrower weapon. Then charge your super again, throw him, and while he's mid-air, use the gadget one more time. Now both of you have the thrower weapon, and you can basically rain down airstrikes on your enemies. It's so broken that players started calling it a troll tool. Ash is a pretty strategic brawler, and if you're using his star power that fills half his rage bar with the first attack, you'll want to wait a moment between your first 2 hits. That small delay actually lets you fill the rage bar to the max, but if you just spam all your ammo right after missing the first shot, you'll barely gain any rage at all. I bet you didn't know that encouraging other players to report someone is actually bannable. Yeah, if Jimmy and Darren team up and rally a whole squad to mass report Bob, guess what? They're the ones getting banned, not Bob. Supercell probably made that rule because they don't want people forming report gangs just to wipe out every Edgar main in existence, which is kind of a fair reason to ban those players. If you ever get terrible support from the Brawl Stars team and decide to expose it by posting screenshots online, yeah, that might actually get you banned. Turns out, sharing your support chat breaks Supercell's privacy terms even if they gave you the worst replies ever. So basically, they can collect your data all day long, but the second you try to show their messages, ban hammer. Everyone knows Twitter can be a pretty toxic place, but there's one thing Brawl Stars devs surprisingly left open. You can actually tag Frank or Danny directly if you've got something important to say about the game. But here's the catch. If you go too crazy with those tags, spamming every tweet with their names like they're your personal tech support, you might not just get blocked on Twitter, but you might also earn yourself a shiny little ban in Brawl Stars too. If you're a content creator like me, there's actually a pretty creative way you can get banned, and that's by hosting something called a ban challenge. Essentially, players compete to see who can get banned the fastest, all for a prize. Yeah, it's as wild as it sounds. It's like paying people to cause absolute chaos in Brawl Stars, and we can't say it is something Supercell likes, so yeah, don't expect a ban challenge from me. Or we'll see. If you thought only games and matches could be hacked in Brawl Stars, well, you'd be pretty much wrong, because some players actually managed to hack Map Maker too. But what did that help them with? Well, normally you aren't able to place indestructible walls, but when someone hacks the game, they gain access to them. But what's even more shocking about this hacked map, this player also placed Sprout's wall on the map. Well, I guess you're nowhere safe from hackers. But have you ever wondered what happens when you stalk an Edgar player? Well, you end up in the jail map. What's so special about this map is that it's hacked, because players are spawned inside indestructible walls and have to fight each other to become the true king of Edgar hunters. Unfortunately, we can't make any jails for Edgar players, because they can just jump out of it. You're a true OG player if you remember the Brawl Ball map 1+2+1+3+2. Yeah, I almost had a stroke reading that too. Despite that complicated name, the gameplay was actually pretty interesting. The map had 3 separate sections where players would face off in 1v1s. To win, your middle teammate had to kill their opponent, grab the ball, and then pass it to the teammate near the goal, who also had to take out their opponent before scoring. Sounds simple enough, right? If you love Minecraft, you're gonna love this map. It's called Sky Wars, and it's basically a Minecraft Sky Wars remake in Brawl Stars. You spawn with a few power boxes, then decide whether to fight other players or loot more boxes in the middle. Who needs Minecraft when you've got Brawl Stars? Supercell banned some maps for literally no reason, and one of them is this bounty map that's filled with bushes. To be honest, I don't really know why Supercell decided to ban this and not ban some explicit maps. But tell us in the comment section, why do you think it got removed? Events in Brawl Stars are usually total chaos, but you know what the best part is? Seeing your name at the top of the leaderboard. That #1 spot hits different, and on top of the bragging rights, you also get a ton of juicy rewards. Nothing feels better than that sweet victory. Macy's Hypercharge is probably the closest thing we'll ever get to dropping actual nukes in Brawl Stars. The way it wipes out enemies and launches them in a huge radius, it's pure chaos and it feels amazing. Every time I use it, I swear I can hear nuke incoming in my head. So you haven't played Brawl Stars in a while, and now you've got a mountain of quests just waiting to be completed for that sweet season XP. And honestly, there's no better feeling. But the peak moment, the real satisfaction, is when you don't enter the lobby at all until every single quest is done. And then boom, you log in, claim it all at once, and watch that XP bar skyrocket. One player even managed to claim 20,000 XP in one go. That's not progress, that's simply art. There's no map more satisfying than the legendary skull map. You know the one. It's in every Brawler Olympics video ever, with all those perfectly lined up skulls just waiting to be smashed. And when they finally break, pure happiness. It's like your brain gets a high five. Being an OG player might sound cool, but it could actually make you the owner of the most cursed account in Brawl Stars history. Back when Supercell first dropped the game into open beta, you could create an account and end up with a 3-letter player ID. Yeah, just 3 characters. Some players managed to lock those in, and they still hold the record for the shortest IDs in the game. A lot of people thought these accounts belonged to devs, but nope. Dev accounts got wiped shortly after release to avoid attention. These weren't devs, and they weren't abandoned either, because one of them was recently spotted joining clubs. So yeah, the legends are true. The most cursed account in Brawl Stars is still out there. Brawl Stars has had its fair share of glitches, some annoying, some hilarious, and while most of them eventually got patched, there's one weird one that's still around. Ever noticed a player using a pin for a brawler they don't even own? Like, you check their profile and boom, Angelo pin, but no Angelo? What? Turns out these aren't real players at all. They're bot accounts. And yeah, they show up a lot. So we're just gonna go ahead and call them what they are. Some of the most cursed accounts in Brawl Stars history. Fix your game, Supercell. During a tournament match where STMN went up against Zeta Division, Bobby was playing Piper in Knockout, and what he pulled off was insane. First, he was this close to getting eliminated, but at the last second, he popped his super and wiped out the entire team. And just when you thought that was lucky, he did it again. To be honest, I don't know what's more awesome, this play or his name. What Tensai is with Max, Pika is with Bull. And at this point, we should all know that. When Pika showed up, a lot of Brawl Stars players who thought old school brawlers like Bull were totally useless suddenly had a change of heart. Because believe it or not, Pika pulls off some of the most insane Bull plays you'll ever see, like wiping out entire teams in seconds. His arrival basically proved one thing loud and clear. It's not about the brawler, it's about the skill. If you've ever found yourself watching Brawl Stars trick shot compilations just to kill time, there's a very good chance you've seen a video from the one and only Ice Piper. Let's be real. This guy basically carried the entire trick shot scene. Without him, those satisfying shots and jaw-dropping plays probably wouldn't have hit the same. He gave us the content we needed for our morning cereal routine. So yeah, thank you Ice Piper for your service. Did you know Brawl Stars actually knows math? Sounds weird, but it's true, and 8-Bit proves it. If you hop into a custom match and fill the map with slowing tiles, 8-Bit moves like a turtle, right? But here's the twist. If you throw in B's slowing totem on top of that, 8-Bit suddenly goes insanely fast. Yeah, double negative equals positive. So basically, Brawl Stars knows that minus and minus equals a big fat plus. Now, a lot of players might not agree with me on this one, but Hypercharges had a pretty lame introduction. When they first dropped, they were given to early brawlers like Bull, Shelly, and a few others. powers. And let's be honest, they felt like Super 2.0. It was like someone mashed a gadget and a super together and called it a day. People seriously thought Supercell had run out of ideas, but over time, things changed. Supercell actually listened to the community and started tweaking hypercharges into something way more fun. And now, they're one of the coolest features in the game. So hey, glow-ups happen, but not for Edgar. We've talked about the strongest brawlers, but now let's talk about possibly the worst brawler ever added to Brawl Stars, Colette. And there's actually a very good reason why. She was the first brawler to deal damage based on a percentage of the enemy's HP. Sounds cool until you realize that if you deal a fixed percentage every time, you'll never finish the job. Like ever. It's basically infinite math torture. This one mechanic made Colette literally incapable of securing kills on her own. So yeah, her entire existence kind of proved that Supercell might have skipped math class. Here's a secret way to score a goal using what I like to call the Kenji Bluetooth method. If the ball is just sitting near the goal and you don't have time to run up and shoot it, don't panic. Just aim Kenji super slightly to the right and his final slash will perfectly push the ball straight into the goal. If you're playing Lily and both you and your enemy have super ready, there's a sneaky trick you need to try. Just throw out Lily's teleport super like normal, but right as it lands, activate her dimension gadget. If you time it perfectly, you'll teleport and completely dodge the enemy super at the same time. Don't just waste Juju super like a noob. If you actually want to do it right, first sneak into a bush and use a gadget. Then once you're right up in the enemy's face, throw the gadget and go full spam mode on your shots. You should use Lola's clone as a defense shield. When you place her clone in front of you and enemy, you'll deal more damage and have better defense at the same time. When playing Squeak in heist mode, bounce his super off the wall to deal even more damage to the heist safe. With Belle, try to pinch your enemies into tight corners. This way you can bounce her shots easily and hit enemies guaranteed. Don't make this classic Byron mistake. If you use his gadget before his super, you're essentially wasting his super because it won't recharge his super at all. But if you use super first, then gadget, you'll actually get a full super back. Attack and super fast with Stu to become the best Stu player. When using rough super with hypercharge, wait for hyper to run out before picking up a booster to recharge his hyper again. Everyone knows Bull can literally run over water. Like seriously, he just charges straight through it while the rest of the brawlers are out here acting like water is lava. But have you ever wondered, is there a limit to how far he can go? Well, I decided to test it. At first, Bull was cruising over water like it was nothing. But just when I thought he could go infinite, he hit a 21 tile pool. And he just stopped right at the edge. So yeah, turns out 21 tiles is where Bull finally meets his limit. November 2023 was a rough time for gem grab lovers. And the reason was actually Charlie. A lot of players don't realize this, but when she dropped, her super had one of the most broken mechanics in the game. You could literally steal gems just by cocooning someone. No need to defeat them. Instead, just throw the super, trap them, and boom, they drop all their gems. And let's just say, a lot of matches were won in the most unfair way possible. I bet you didn't know that Miko was actually free for a limited time during Brawler days in late 2023. And yeah, that decision made a lot of players angry. I mean, just look at him. He can jump, steal ammo, and basically plays like Mortis, but with the power to leap over walls. So once he dropped for free, every lobby suddenly turned into a Miko apocalypse. And it wasn't just the chaos. Players also found game-breaking glitches that let him survive forever in Showdown's Poison Zone. Miko quickly became one of the most hated brawlers in the game, right up there with Edgar. But while we're talking about upgrades, here's a tip. Don't waste your coins on the vision gear for close-range brawlers. Why? Well, it only reveals enemies in bushes for 2 seconds after you hit them. And if you're out of range, it's pretty much useless. Plus, with better options like this shield or health regen gears, which actually help you survive longer, vision gear feels like a wasted slot. Honestly, if you're that desperate to mess with bush campers, just pick Bo because he already sees 150% more in bushes with his circling eagle star power. We all know rough players struggle to share their buff supers. However, if you're the one playing rough with hypercharge and feeling a little selfish, avoid this. Most players use hypercharge, throw their super, and instantly grab the buff. But that's a big mistake. Instead, wait for your hypercharge to run out before picking up the buff. Why? Because it'll instantly refill your hypercharge bar, letting you infinitely cycle it. At least until your teammate swoops in and steals it. Everyone knows Amber has an ammo bar that drains as she attacks. But here's the trick. Don't bother manually aiming with her, because every time she fires a single flame projectile, her auto aim resets, meaning it's actually the most accurate auto aim in the entire game. So next time you're playing Amber, just hold that button and watch your enemies burn. This almost feels cruel. If you've ever played seasonal games like Subway Surfers, you've probably seen the option to change the music to tracks from previous seasons. Well, I think Brawl Stars should have this feature too. With so many seasons and unique soundtracks, it would be amazing to relieve the vibe of older updates.
just what I've been missing. While some people wish for third-person Brawl Stars, other players beg for the PC and console version of the game. Just imagine playing with a joystick. Unstoppable, right? Supercell already somewhat did this for Clash Royale and Clash of Clans, making them available for PC. Of course, there are emulators which let you play Brawl Stars on PC, but some people say those have a high chance of getting you banned. And if you're hoping that they'll add this feature to Brawl Stars, don't get too excited, because this feature may never happen. And for good reason. If I asked you about the most annoying pin, you'd probably say it's the thumbs down or clown emoji. But nope, there's one that's even worse. The Baby Shark pin. Why? Because every time you use it, it plays a small part of the Baby Shark song, and it's super annoying. So, if you're a troll, just spam this pin at your friends until they can't take it anymore. Oh, what? You think you can just mute pins? Well, what if I place a pin outside your window? What if you want to troll your friends so bad that you end up behind bars? Just steal their device. Then, log into their account with your Supercell ID and buy 1 million gems using their money. Congrats! Now you're being investigated for financial fraud, and your friend's house has been seized by the bank. Okay, feel free to do any other fact in this video. Just, don't do this one. Wait! I was joking! Want to disappear in front of your friend like his dad did? Pick Lily. When the 1v1 match starts and your friend thinks they've got the upper hand, just use Lily's teleport to go to her dimension and dodge every bit of damage your friends throw at you. Not only does Lily bend dimensions, but she can make your friend bend their phone in half. Speaking of 1v1s, here's a sneaky way to make your friend's brawler completely useless. When setting up a friendly battle, pick a map from Map Maker that's 99% water. Then choose a water walking brawler. While you roam freely, your friend will be stuck in one spot, completely helpless. But if you want them to get really mad after you win, ask if they want a rematch. This Meeple troll will make players go mad. Because Meeple is a new brawler whose super lets you place a wall anywhere you want, just drop his wall cage on your friend to trap them completely. It's so effective. It might even outdo the classic Sprout trap. Speaking of Meeple's trap, did you know there's actually a way to use his gadget infinitely? All you need is a friend playing Doug to revive you after you die. And voila! You can now throw Meeple's gadget as many times as you want. After trolling your enemies for a while, why not turn the tables and troll your friends? Just trap them with your walls and keep them stuck forever. Try disabling your friends' main brawler. If you know their favorite brawler, just ban it during the banning phase. Of course, you need to be at least diamond rank to pull this off, so you'll have to get a little bit of skill. But if you don't know their main brawler, you can just ban the brawler they pre-picked in the menu. Now they'll be stuck with a brawler they hate and will probably boil their phone in a pot. Janet's hypercharge lets you fully control her movements while flying through the air, so let's use this to become the most useless player in history. Just charge her super and hypercharge in battle, then fly up and hover in one spot, doing absolutely nothing. If your friends ask why you're slacking, just tell them the autopilot turned off. Everyone knows Buzz is a lifeguard, but does that make him able to attack enemies on water? Well, most of you probably thought that he can't attack enemies on water as his range is too short for it. However, if you have his super fully charged, you can use it on enemies that are hovering over water and completely stun them. Of course, after you've stunned them, you'll be teleported to land, so make sure you have your friend pick a ranged brawler to finish them off. If you're playing Leon, don't be scared of Otis. If he hits you with his mute super while you're invisible and using your healing star power, guess what? You'll stay invisible and keep healing. Now that's overpowered. Have you ever faced an unstoppable enemy team in Brawl Ball? Well, this blue team did, and they carried the ball all the way to the enemy goal. But just as they were about to score, the entire enemy team was on the goal to block them. To make things worse, Gale dropped his tornado right on top of the ball, making it impossible for enemies to grab it. It's moments like these that make you feel like Supercell secretly placed an invisible wall on the enemy team. Curse you, Supercell. Everyone hates Angelos that camp on water, but this one might be an exception as he pulled off the luckiest clutch ever. It starts with Edgar jumping on Leon, only to get eliminated instantly by this pro Leon. Then Angelo, hovering on water, realizes he's in big trouble as a hypercharged Leon starts chasing him in a 1v1. Angelo lands a hit while Leon is invisible and jumps just in time. And as Leon thinks he's about to get an easy win, Angelo pulls off the luckiest snipe with 1 HP left, clutching the battle in style. We could say Leon probably hates Angelo now too, but that's not as crazy as this Piper clutch. In this lucky moment, Piper's being chased by her ultimate counter, Mortis. And just as things look hopeless for Piper, she uses her super to escape. Mortis, thinking she's defenseless after landing, moves in for the final blow, only to get completely obliterated by
Stu, who takes him out instead. Piper didn't even have to lift a finger, and it made Mortis look like a total noob.
Back in the day, players discovered a super unique scrapped brawler hidden in the game files, Bone Thrower Pet. At first, it might seem just like another Nita clone, but this brawler had a completely unique mechanic. Instead of a pet that fights on its own, Bone Thrower Pet would just use bones to lure its pet toward enemies, making it way more strategic. But for some reason, Supercell completely scrapped the idea. Maybe because Poco would always be his target. Get it? Because he's made out of bones? Danny has to hate Supercell, because at the time of upcoming Brawlies, Supercell decided to release his own Danny Piper skin. After designing the skin along with Paula Jessie, Supercell simply decided to never give it out to players and scrapped it fully. However, traces of these skins data were found in the Chinese version of Brawl Stars. Yeah, you might be angry at Supercell now, but not as much as me, because they also rejected making the Frank skin. Brawl Stars could have had a running game mode, because in the game files there was a mode called Reach Exit. However, it also came with assets of doors which go up and down, as well as buttons that were supposed to open them. There's no known reason why developers decided not to make it a real game mode, but if they did, I think it would have felt like playing Subway Surfers.
This showdown combo might be on a blacklist. Okay, not really, but it's a total demolishing strategy. Shelly x Jean. To pull this off, both Shelly's and Jean's supers need to be charged. Jean pulls an enemy close, and Shelly obliterates them on the spot. Bonus tip, if Jean uses his hypercharge, he can pull in even more enemies for Shelly to clean up with ease. Supercell obviously forgot their maps when they made Shade. In Gem Grab, there's a map called Snowman Forest, which is literally an island surrounded by water. Now you might ask, but Balootic, I don't see anything weird here. Well, congrats. You should probably work at Supercell. The thing is, Shade can grab all the gems, phase through walls, and just hang out on the water until the match ends, making it absolutely impossible for the other team to come back. Honestly, I think Shade needs a buff. Here's a pro tip to become a world-class El Primo player. If you see Tick's bomb heading your way, just use El Primo's throw gadget to toss a bomb straight at your teammates instead and obliterate them. That way, you'll stay alive because, let's be real, El Primo is the most important player. My hero. This next hiding strategy guarantees an easy, cheesy win in wipeout mode, with no effort. It's similar to the trapping enemies trick, but this time, you're trapping yourself. Here's how it works. You'll need Gale, Jackie, and Colt. First, as Colt takes down enemies to get up points, he'll use his wall-breaking gadget to destroy a corner. Then, Jackie repairs the walls, leaving just one tile open. Finally, Gale places his jump pad, and you all hop into the spot together. Enemies will totally be frustrated trying to reach you, but all they can do is watch as they lose. If you're a Gus main, you probably remember the pain of fighting brawlers that could fly over water. Back in the day, there was a glitch that stopped Gus's shots from going over water. So if you were up against someone like Angelo, he could easily snipe you while your balloon would just stop at the edge of the water. I guess Supercell didn't inflate his balloons enough. Did you know players can reject your invite? Well, I didn't because, well, I have no friends. Okay, but seriously, it's so frustrating when a friend you usually play with rejects your invite right in front of your face. Like, they're online all day, but suddenly they found someone better to play with? Honestly, I'd consider that cheating. How dare you? Speaking of friends, something even worse than rejecting an invite is when your friend leaves the game without telling you. You start a match, see the loading screen, and then boom, your friend is tagged with the offline text. Like, at least say you're leaving. Now I'm just gonna have to find out where you're hiding. Okay, maybe that's a good way to end up in jail. Buzz might have just gotten a huge buff with how he switched targets in this moment. In a Brawl Ball match, he used his super on Mandy, who was right in front of him. But instead of stunning her, Buzz suddenly changed direction mid-super and stunned El Primo instead. It's one of those rare moments where Buzz doesn't hold back at all. Just like how this Doug wasn't holding back either. In a knockout match, all of his teammates were down, so he teleported behind the enemy, snuck through the bushes, and took out 2 of them on his own. Then, unfortunately, Bo managed to take him out. But Doug used his super just in time, revived himself, and finished off Bo like a true clutch king. Now that's a real wiener. Everyone remembers when Crow would fly with his super and score a goal while carrying the ball. That was an early Brawl Stars bug. But guess what? Supercell made the same mistake again, this time with Dynamite. Some players discovered that if you time your jumps perfectly using Dyna Jump and land on the ball while using your super, you can literally fly across the map with the ball and score while no one can stop you. We all thought Brawl Stars fixed crucial bugs, but, well, here we are again. Did you know you could clone brawlers in Brawl Stars? Back in the Angels vs. Demons season, there was an ability called Rebirth, which gave you a second life when you were supposed to die. But there was a crazy glitch with Mo and Bonnie. If you had Rebirth activated and you used their super at the same time, it would leave leave behind a clone that could take damage, capture hot zone, and even score a goal in Brawl Ball. It was insanely overpowered, but the real question players had was, how did Super mess this up so badly? Everyone knows that moment when you win a super intense ranked match, thinking you've literally finally made it to the next rank, only to check the lobby and realize you're 1 point short. And of course, the next match is a total disaster, and you end up losing everything, even dropping back to the previous rank. Honestly, Supercell should just add a +1 bonus point to push players into the next rank. Save us all the pain. You've probably been called a clown more times than you can count in Brawl Stars, but this stew took it to a whole new level. As a Fang was casually passing by, a random stew with the Santa skin suddenly spun around, started spamming attacks, dropped a clown spray, used the clown pin, and just kept doing it without even seeing Fang before that moment. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the new red hypercharge ability, Maximum Clown Mode. This might be the biggest betrayal in Brawl Stars history. So Bull and Barry were facing off in Showdown, and Bull placed down a half heart spray. Barry, thinking it was a sign of peace, dropped the other half to complete the heart and team up. But the moment he did, Bull rushed in and absolutely destroyed him. It might seem evil, but let's be honest, teaming is even worse. So don't do it.
Draco can literally stay in his super forever, and that's because while he's in his dragon form, hitting enemies actually charges his super back up. So after landing a few shots, he can just refill his super bar and keep blasting even more players without ever going back to normal mode. You should definitely try the Meeple and Carl combo. In case you didn't know, Meeple's super makes any projectile from you or your teammates pass through walls. But here's where it gets interesting. When Carl uses his dash gadget, he technically becomes a projectile, and if you aim it at a wall where Meeple placed his super, Carl can actually dash straight through it. I'm not sure if this is a glitch, but for now it can be super useful for surprise attacks. There's a really cool trick to deal more damage with Surge. If you're in your 4th form and your enemy is standing right next to a wall, don't aim directly at them. Instead, aim at the wall. Your attack will bounce off it and hit the enemy, dealing nearly 7,000 damage in just one shot. Now that's seriously overpowered. Many players don't know this, but there's actually a strategic trick to spotting if your enemy has an epic or mythic gear. If you look closely at the icons under their brawler, specifically the gadget icon, you'll notice something interesting. Regular gadgets look plain with no texture, but if a player has a mythic or epic gear, the gadget icon will have tiny textured lines on it. This lets you figure out if the enemy is stronger before the match even starts, though you might need to grab a magnifying glass to actually see it. Speaking of gadgets, there's actually a sneaky way to tell if a player is using a vision gadget. Normally, you won't see anything on their gadget icon that gives it away, but if they shoot at you, one of your gadget icons will start flashing. That flash means they just got a glimpse of your location, even if you're hiding in a bush. So if you ever spot that icon blinking, you better run.
One player found a very interesting way to get banned, by simply logging into multiple devices at the same time. Sounds like he got banned for no reason. Well, not exact. If you do it just right, like this one player did, you can actually trick Supercell into thinking you sold your account. And that's not a very good thing to do, because Supercell takes account selling super seriously. So even if you're just switching between your phone and tablet, you could receive a ban. Looks like Supercell really wants you to play Brawl Stars on one device, or else. Hearing about all these weird rules kind of makes you realize Brawl Stars is starting to feel like a digital jail. So, what did some players do? They went full rebel mode and made their own Brawl Stars servers. Total freedom, no bans, no Supercell telling them what they can and cannot do. Well, until Supercell finds out. Because if they do, you're not just getting banned. There's a chance you'll get sued. Yep, actual legal trouble. So yeah. Guess we don't really own our games anymore. Did you know there's a way to get banned by not playing? Yep, all you have to do is let an AI play for you. And that's something Supercell absolutely hates. Recently, some players set up bots to grind matches non-stop, ranking up accounts all the way to max without lifting a finger. Then they tried to sell those accounts online. So not only were they breaking one rule, but they were breaking two. If you're lost somewhere in the world, then you can easily navigate yourself with the help of Brawl Stars. But how exactly? Well, this player literally created a world map inside Brawl Stars. What's even crazier is that there are even more accurate versions of this map zoomed in. But let's just hope we never end up playing solo showdown on this map, because that would technically be World War III. I bet you didn't know you could play Team Fortress 2 in Brawl Stars. Well, not exactly, but this map would be perfect for a TF2 style game mode. It's a massive 6v6 map with 3 bridges right in the middle. And if you ask me, I can already see how these bridges would be used to push into the enemy zone, or maybe even for some kind of capture the flag mode. Fan-made maps can be cool and weird, but this player used Mapmaker to animate Piper's scene from the trailer. So, can we call it a map? Technically, I guess. But this is absolutely insane since everything was animated down to the smallest detail. I literally can't even begin to understand where you get the time to do something like this. Do you not go outside? So there used to be a trend in the Brawl Stars community where players would create school sketches in Map Maker. And well, one player got tired of this trend and decided to shake things up by making a sketch of his actual house and posting it online. Honestly, that's a little bit concerning, but I found a way to make this into a positive. Here, I've downloaded every Edgar main's home address, and now when they queue, they'll load into a map of their own houses.
But Balootic, how do you know what the inside of my house looks like?
Don't worry about that. Griff is actually amazing. I don't know what it is, but using his super to shred enemies with flying cards feels like a Silent Shelly super. It's clean, it's fast, and it absolutely melts people. Many players didn't expect Hank to be fun, but after getting his hypercharge, he's actually a blast. Literally. With his supercharged super, he can turn the battlefield into a full-on fireworks show. And if you grab a friend who's also playing Hank and you both start spamming supers, the bullets will spin around you like a wild ride. Zero strategy, perfect entertainment. One of the most cursed accounts in all of Brawl Stars belongs to YouTuber Ray, and it's all because he somehow created a club with 0 trophies. Yeah, if you've ever wondered why you never see anyone with 0 trophies in a club, it's because Supercell doesn't allow it anymore. You need at least 400 trophies to join or create a club now. So how did Ray pull it off? Simple. He made the account before that rule existed and just never touched it. 0 trophies forever. Honestly, it's like he invested in making the ultimate cursed account. Most players know that Mastery has a reward cap, but what many players don't know is that it doesn't have a points cap. Yeah, even after unlocking the final Mastery title, you can still keep stacking points on that brawler. And one player took that to a whole new level by creating one of the most cursed accounts ever. If you check his stats on Brawl Ace, you'll see it over 1.2 million Mastery points on tick. That's not just dedication, that's straight up madness. Just imagine how many hours of pure tick gameplay that took. I'm just saying, don't leave this guy alone near anything explosive. One cursed account is already weird enough, but you know what's even crazier? Facing 3 cursed accounts in the same match. That's exactly what happened to this player who rewatched their replay and noticed something was seriously off. The enemy team, Mandy, Colt, and Dynamite, only had a handful of brawlers unlocked. Literally just those 3 and Shelly. That's it. Turns out it wasn't a coincidence. They were actually working together. A full squad farming cursed accounts like it was some kind of glitchy business operation. It's pretty rare to see a player so good that they completely blow your mind, but when it happens, it's unforgettable. One of those players is RHZ, who showed up in the Brawl Stars Championship and absolutely cooked the competition. Using only Max, he dodged every single bullet like it was the Matrix and wiped out entire teams on his own. The way he played, it had viewers wondering if Tensai secretly jumped on the account. Honestly, it might have been him. Snake Thug is one of Brawl Stars' most well-known YouTubers. Yeah, you probably knew that. But what most people don't know is that he's secretly a beast at the game. Like that one time he was pushing B to high ranks and 6 teamers decided to gang up only on him. 6 teamers, all targeting one guy. Most players would have panicked or rage quit, but not Snake Thug. He actually took all of them down one by one. Snake Thug may actually be the most underrated pro out there. Speaking of teamers, Hyra had one of the most savage encounters ever. He was playing Showdown when he noticed something suspicious. A whole group of players standing way too close without attacking each other. Classic teaming. But Hyra, he wasn't scared for a second. He locked in Mortis, dashed straight into the chaos, and unleashed pure destruction. One by one, he wiped them all out like it was nothing. Honestly, that's just embarrassing for the teamers. Did you know Max used to look kinda slurpy back in the day? Most players have no idea, but her profile icon has actually been changed 3 times. And honestly, it's probably the one that needed it most. Her first icon, she looked kinda chunky and had this super suspicious liquid around her mouth, as if she just chugged a mystery energy drink and forgot to wipe. It looked weird, so Supercell removed the drool, but kept the bulky design. And finally, we got the clean, normal looking Max we have today. But let's be real, we'll never forget Drooly Mac. That was just too weird. Did you know you can actually play as Super Mario? And yeah, he can jump and stomp. Sounds insane, right? So how did players find this secret? Well, it's not exactly a secret. It's a banned speedrun. To play as Mario, you'd have to download something called Amazing Stars, which is basically a modded version of Brawl Stars. And knowing Supercell, the second you boot that up, your account is as good as gone. So yeah, maybe don't try to turn Brawl Stars into Mario Party. When you hear bots in Brawl Stars, you probably think of bad randoms or those training ground punching bags. But would you believe me if I told you there were bots with Ultra Instinct? Back in the day, some bots actually invaded the game and they weren't messing around. These things could perfectly calculate projectiles projectiles and dodge every single shot like it was nothing. Hackers used them to grind accounts, and they even stream sniped popular creators just to ruin their matches. It was pure chaos until Supercell finally snapped and banned them all. And it's time to the worst update ever. Edgar. That name still haunts the Brawl Stars community to this day. When he first dropped, he became the first brawler to have built-in lifesteal on his main attack. Combine that with ridiculous damage and an insane reload speed? Yeah, chaos. He dominated the game until Supercell finally nerfed him with a bunch of balance changes. But even now, they keep bringing him back in those broken event mutations like nothing ever happened. Remove Edgar, please! For this next very controversial update, we're diving deep under the sea. Or at least that's what the season was called, Deep Sea Brawl. We got Otis, some clan quests, and yeah, that's pretty much it. No major features, no wild reworks, just a deep sea theme. If you could count every season since Brawl Stars launched, this one easily wins the award for the most boring update ever. Congrats, Deep Sea Brawl, I guess? Did you know Barry can charge his super and hypercharge without even attacking anyone? All you have to do is hop into Showdown and walk into the poison zone to take damage, then step back out to heal. Repeat that over and over to charge up. Here's a trick you probably didn't know with Sam. If you're about to get stunned or knocked back, drop your super right before it happens, then instantly use your gadget to cancel any brawler. With Gus, use your knockback gadget to push enemies into ghosts to explode them. Use Eve super at the back of the map to constantly put pressure on your enemies in the match. Play Griff in a 5v5 match. Just rush straight to the center of the map where everyone is bunched up and use his hypercharge. You can literally wipe out the entire enemy team in one go. Bang has a combo so insane it essentially shreds all brawlers. It goes like this: attack, super, attack, then gadget attack, and another super. Pretty insane, right? Use Janet's super as her escape card. Whenever you have it charged, don't rush enemies. Just fly away from the danger. Use Bonnie's non-cannon mode to shoot an infinite amount of super balls and a brawl ball. Spread out Grom's shots because they are really easy to predict. Also, playing him on a crossroad like maps will make it even easier to hit his shots. What happens if Belle's long-range shot locks onto a jumping target like Edgar? Will it actually follow him mid-air or just vanish into the void? Let's find out. So here I am playing Belle, and my friend's Edgar is about to jump right as the shot tries to bounce from a box onto him. And wait, what? Belle's shot just curves away and completely misses him? It just gave up. Looks like Edgar got lucky this time. Mortis might be the bringer of doom, but did you know he also brings souls? Yeah, if he uses super to eliminate enemies, you can actually see little ghostly souls fly straight into him. Super spooky. But here's the crazy part. What happens if you teleport right after using your super? Well, I tried it. I wiped out a group of enemies, hit teleport, and the souls literally chased me across the entire map. They followed me like I owed them rent. It was actually kind of awesome. Mr. P might be the real reason we don't see Big Boss mode in Brawl Stars anymore. If you go back to 2023, he was actually the final boss in that mode, and it was pure chaos. Not only did Mr. P have a massive health bar, but his porters had almost as much HP as he did, and he could spam them non-stop. It turned into a 5v5 boss battle with endless minions. Just imagine if he had his hypercharge back then. Speaking of trends, back in November 2022, Jackie's rebuild gadget suddenly went viral in the Brawl Stars community because players discovered a hilarious way to troll in Brawl Ball. They'd use the gadget to trap the ball behind a wall or obstacle, and if the enemy team didn't have a wall breaker, they were cooked. So if you saw Jackie during that time, you probably would have had a pretty frustrating match. Upgrading brawlers in Brawl Stars is one of the most satisfying things to do, but it can be a double-edged sword. If you upgrade brawlers that are weak or don't fit your playstyle, it's only going to slow down your progress. Instead, focus on saving your resources to upgrade brawlers that are strong and suit how you play. If you want to go pro in Brawl Stars, staying on top of the current metas is a must. The game's always changing with updates every month, introducing buffs and nerfs to different brawlers. Each brawler has a chance to become weaker or stronger, and ignoring the meta will pretty much backstab you. So do yourself a favor and stay updated. Who knows, maybe one day we'll finally get a real Edgar nerf. Or, better yet, he'll be removed altogether. Buying star powers and gadgets can totally change how strong your brawler is, but picking the wrong ones can make them so much worse. So before you spend all your hard-earned gold, check what the community says or watch a video to see them in action. You don't want to be that Griff running Coin Shower, which just adds one extra wave of coins.
points. Seriously, who even uses that? Showdown tournaments would be a massive upgrade to Brawl Stars. While there are official Brawl Stars tournaments that can get you nice rewards, some players got inspired by Rocket League's daily tournaments where players compete to get rewards. Honestly, if this was added to Brawl Stars, I might start playing Showdown again. Have you ever hit the play again button and noticed the thumbs up pin is always based on the default brawler skin? Some players suggested to Supercell that if you're using a legendary skin, it should swap to the thumbs up pin from that skin instead, which would make way more sense. This idea would make Supercell go broke. The suggestion was to replace gems with bling, so every in-game purchase that needed gems would use bling instead. Fame is arguably the most useless feature in all of Brawl Stars, and players avoid contributing to it like it's their sole mission in life. However, with this rework, players would be able to get skins for free. Every month at Global Tier, you would get a random super rare skin drop, at Lunar you would get random epic or mythic skin, and with Solar, you'd get a legendary. If you're playing Showdown on a map with a weird wall setup, use Sprout to ruin someone's day. When your teammate dies for the 100th time, wait for them to respawn and head to a part of the zone surrounded by walls. As they spawn in, they'll think you're just messing with them since they can leave easily, but not so fast. Throw Sprouts' super to block their only escape. This can be even better if you know there's a Barley in the game. Gus's shield is probably the hardest ability to land on teammates since you have to aim it perfectly, but most players know this and will make it easier by walking closer to you. So next time they do that, just aim in the opposite direction and miss on purpose. Wait, don't leave the game! Everyone knows Supercell occasionally drops QR codes for free rewards in Brawl Stars, but this lets you do something evil. Just create a QR code using any online generator and send it to your friend saying it will give them free coins or gems. By the time they realize this is not the case, they'll already be rickrolled. If you're looking to ruin the Brawl Stars experience for your friends, just pick Buzz Lightyear. This brawler is ridiculously overpowered, slicing or lasering down anyone who crosses his path. Sure, it makes winning easy, but it completely destroys the fun. Honestly, I'm glad he's getting removed. Buzz needs a nerf that goes to infinity and beyond. Wanna know how to make your friend hate you by being too chill? Next time you're playing Duo Showdown with someone and your friend is spectating you and have over 15 power cubes and your teammate doesn't have any, just chill around and act as if you don't care, pushing everyone with no hesitation. This only works if you're a regular player though. If you're a pro like me, this will just seem normal. Japanese players have a smart trick up their sleeves. Did you know that switching Brawl Stars to Japanese lets you see exactly how many gems you've bought? All you have to do is switch the game's language to Japanese, tap the info icon, and boom! Detailed stats on how many gems you've purchased, earned for free, and spent. How have I earned -10 gems? Here's a secret trick only YouTubers can do. If you've made it into Brawl Stars creator program, you can get free skins from Supercell. But if you bought a skin from the shop before claiming it as a reward, you would actually end up getting another copy of the skin after you've already claimed it. However, you won't be compensated for this duplicate. So, what was the point? We all hate Shade. Let me show you how to counter him. When that sneaky ghost hides inside a wall, thinking he's untouchable, just pick a thrower. Use your projectiles to target the wall, and you'll still deal damage, taking him down with ease. BossBot might think he's the toughest enemy around, so here's a way to humble him. In the training grounds, Sprout can throw his super to push BossBot into a corner, where he'll actually teleport over the wall. Now, I know this doesn't do any damage, but come on, this is pretty fun. What happens when you're lucky, but in the opposite way? Well, you'd be this Nani. She sends her drone flying toward Colette, who dodges it perfectly. Then, Nani activates her teleportation gadget, only to land right on a jump pad that launches her straight into Shelly and Bull, who absolutely obliterate her. Now she's a literal dust. If you thought own goals didn't exist in Brawl Stars, well, this Sprout proved otherwise. In this reverse lucky moment, Sprout is up against opponents who shoot the ball straight toward the goal, but as he desperately tries to block it with his super, he instead pushes the ball right into his own goal. Yeah, this was insanely lucky to even occur, but I don't think he was very happy about it. Did you know Supercell once considered Homer to be a brawler? No, I'm not talking about that one, but this prototype that looked just like a Colt and could shoot only one bullet per attack. Back in 2019, just before Brawler days, some players dug up hidden game files and extracted this masterpiece. However, when they found it, it kind of creeped them out. Why didn't they just add Homer Simpson instead? I bet you didn't know Supercell scrapped this trumpet pin. Now, you may be wondering what's so special about it. Well, let me tell you, nothing. However, some leakers managed to save this sound effect, so take a listen. It still isn't known why they chose not to use this, but some players think they might be saving it to use in another game like Clash Royale because, let's be honest, trumpets in Brawl Stars? Really? But did you know hoverboard was supposed to be a thing in Brawl Stars? Okay, you've been fooled once again, as this was actually the codename for yet another brawler that was supposed to be added to the game. And this one had the ability to walk over water, shoot lasers, and worst of all, a creepy smile. Stop staring at me! Everyone knows quick message replies exist in Brawl Stars, but did you know about the secret ones? Yes, these messages were supposed to be more colorful, which you can tell by this photo that shows the messages with code tags. Now, although this is pretty useless, I have to admit it would be a fun feature, unless your friend picks blue, so now you have no idea what they're saying.
Do you want free max rank on your brawler? Well, all you need are your friends and the perfect trio, Colt, Gale, and Sam. As soon as the enemy team leaves their spawn, Gale places his jump pad, launching all three of you toward the ball. Once you land, Colt breaks the wall in front of the goal, and Sam uses his super to shoot the ball straight in. It's basically a cheat code. Speaking of Brawl Ball, when playing Chuck, make sure you place all your poles before it hits overtime. Then, when you get your super, shoot the ball from midfield and use Chuck's gadget to instantly refill your super and drive yourself straight to the goal. And now you're basically playing Rocket League. Invisibility used to be just for Leon, but now everybody has it. Okay, not really, but you can make the ultimate invisibility trio by selecting Juju, Kit, and Lily. In Knockout, activate their invisibility gadgets at the same time. Then rush to the middle while enemies think you're still at the spawn and reappear right in front of them. This is totally going to catch them off guard and probably cause a heart attack. I made all my enemies quit Brawl Stars with this strategy. To pull this off, you'll need Brock, Willow, and Gale. First, get 1 or 2 kills. Then use Brock's super, but cancel it right after the first rocket launches using his jump gadget. Next, have Gale place his jump pad leading to the trap, and then to force the enemies onto it, use Gale's super to push and stun them, and also use Willow's mind control to guide them onto the pad against their will. And just like that, your enemies are trapped. Well, unless they find a way out. If you spot hard lane in game mode selection, just pick Shade and Barry for a free win. Shade can walk on water, go through walls, charge its super in proximity, deal damage through walls, and extend its range. Yeah, Supercell calls this balanced. But on this specific map, Shade is insanely overpowered, and pairing it with Barry, which heals Shade, takes things to another level. When the zone closes towards the middle and enemies hide behind walls and bushes, just damage them through the walls while Barry keeps you healing. Shade might be scary, but not as much as this ghost. Do you know what Jesse and Belle have in common? They're both absolute masters at making you rage. Everyone's been there, running for your life with just 1 HP left, thinking you've somehow survived the chaos, only to get sniped by Jesse's stupidly accurate bounce shot or Belle's bullet ricocheting off your clueless teammate halfway across the map. Like, how does that even hit me? I hate this game. One of the most annoying types of players in Brawl Stars ranked are suggest spammers. They'll spam brawler suggestions non-stop, making that notification pop up 1,000 times. But still, that's not as bad as the players who steal your brawler the second the match loads, and then end up being the worst player on the team. This Hank player literally pulled off a frame-perfect trick. While playing Brawl Hockey, he charged his attack at the exact same moment his teammate passed him the ball, and somehow triggered a bug where he could carry the puck while keeping his attack charged. He even hid it behind his bubble. Guess we can call that a $10 problem, right, Supercell? This El Primo accidentally became the hero of the match. During a Brawl Ball game, his team was about to get scored on. One teammate was already eliminated, and the enemies were closing in fast. Just as Frank rushed him, El Primo misclicked and used his throwing gadget, tossing Frank right in front of the goal as Spike was about to shoot. That tiny delay was just enough for his teammate to respawn, block the ball, and pass it to Mortis, who ran it all the way back and scored. Man, I wish my misclicks were this good. Megapig actually scammed this player. Or did it? At the end of the event, this player opened his Megapig fully expecting the usual bad drops, but something insane happened. Every single one of his 20 star drops turned out to be epic, and on top of that, each one gave him 100 power points. He couldn't believe what he was seeing, and after some players calculated the numbers, they found out that the odds of that happening were basically impossible. Like, we're talking many zeros after the decimal impossible. Honestly, he would have had a better chance playing the lottery that day instead of Brawl Stars. Speaking of ranked, if you reached Diamond rank around the time Squad Busters was released and promoted in Brawl Stars, you probably noticed something weird. The download button for Squad Busters literally covered the Diamond rank tips. These tips were supposed to help players, but Supercell didn't seem to care. Guess they thought promoting their new game was way more important. Did you know that Shelly used to appear angry in the quest menu? If you checked their quests, any that included Shelly wouldn't show her icon. Instead, you'd just see the angry emo pin we all spam when raging at teammates. Looks like even Shelly was tired of grinding quests. Not fantastico! Recently, players discovered something pretty crazy. In one of the Brawl Stars animations where Piper's making bomb cakes, there's a moment where BB jumps on Rico. But here's the wild part. Rico has chicken skin in the game. So technically, we just witnessed a chicken jockey. This may mean we'll get a Minecraft collab one day. Okay, that's probably never going to happen. If you've ever played Brawl Stars at a friend's house with bad Wi-Fi, then you know how frustrating it can get, lagging all over the place and getting folded by enemies like it's nothing. But one player experienced something even stranger. As their connection started bugging out, Draco literally folded in half. I didn't even know this was possible in Brawl Stars. Speaking of wild brawler model moments, one of the craziest has to be when Supercell accidentally broke the game and made all of the brawlers look transparent. But it didn't stop there. On top of looking like they had Leon's ability active, they also started doing T-poses. And this wasn't just in matches. It happened in the lobby and even on the match end screen. It seriously felt like playing Brawl Stars inside Gary's mod.
Ollie secretly got a buff that Supercell does not want you to know about. Previously, when using his super, Ollie would be stuck in a muted state, meaning you couldn't use his gadget at all. But now, that mute state has secretly been removed, meaning you can actually use his jump gadget while his super is active, letting you reposition and deal damage at the same time. This might actually be the new meta. If you're playing a bushy map with Angelo, make sure to constantly scan the bushes by spamming his attack through them. It's a simple but effective way to spot hidden enemies, and if you combine this with the vision gear, you can charge his attack and hit enemies directly while they're still hiding. Piper's super might seem like a big deal to a lot of players, but did you know it's actually kind of weak? Many players panic and run away from the spot she jumps from when she uses it up close, but that's the worst thing you can do. What you should do instead is just stand still, because if you don't move, her bombs won't even hit you. I feel dumb for not realizing this sooner.
Speaking of VPNs, some players discovered they could get cheaper gems by switching the region to countries where Supercell adjusted prices to match the local economy.
Sounds like they just tricked Supercell, right?
Well, if you try using a VPN to buy a discounted skin, you're risking a ban. Supercell does not mess around with that, so maybe just save up the real money instead of converting it into Obama bucks. Some players will do anything to bypass the chat filter, even learn Morse code. Yeah, actual dots and dashes, just to sneak in swear words without getting caught. And believe it or not, it worked. For a while, players were dropping coded insults like they were in some kind of secret agent movie. But eventually, Supercell figured it out and started handing out some bans. So if you thought you could outsmart the system, think again. Unless your next plan is to create your own language. Actually, don't. What if you loaded up Brawl Stars and wanted to play some community maps only to see this huge D? Okay, my bad. But seriously, this map is totally weird, and I wouldn't even be surprised if maps like these don't get banned. Rather, they just never get voted in during map voting. Everyone remembers the infamous Piper map that was a bit inappropriate. But this one is even worse, because someone actually created a map with a woman that was... well, not dressed. Honestly, this is carrying on the legacy of those OG Clash of Clans maps. Yeah, if you know, you know. But whoever made this map definitely deserves the title of Freak of the Week. Did you know there's a true community map in Brawl Stars? Player Blue Shadow literally made a post showing an empty map and said he'd add anything people commented on that post. And the final result, it looked something like this. This is basically a concept inspired by that pixel drawing game on Reddit, except this time, it's with a Brawl Stars map. Look, there are many maps I personally don't want to play on, but Sus Sands reaches the top of the list. It's because of this stupid Among Us. I can't escape. Please help me. No. Speaking of Crow, yeah, missing his super is funny and all, but hitting it on the safe? No, that used to be something else. If you landed Crow's hypercharge directly onto the safe, he'd melt its entire health bar in one go. Bye-bye, safe. But of course, Supercell couldn't let us have fun forever. They added this new safe shield that knockbacks brawlers after they deal just a quarter of the damage. So now Crow just gets kicked off like he wasn't even invited. Thanks, Supercell. Another day, another ruined moment. Most players know Perry Lukey as one of the most OG cursed accounts. His account had almost every brawler at rank 35 with 0 trophies. Yeah, 0. But that's not even the craziest part. He kept one brawler, Sprout, at high trophies because he loves him. And when I say love, I mean obsessed. Perry even customized his account to look extra cursed and pushed Sprout's win streak to over 5,000. That's right, 5,000. Probably the highest Sprout win streak in the entire game. So yeah, find yourself someone who loves you like Perry Lukey loves his Sprout. This one weird Russian player somehow got 17,000 trophies without playing a single match? Yup, that's actually real. And no, he wasn't some top secret Russian hacker breaking into Supercell servers just to steal exactly 7k trophies. What he did do was exploit one super simple feature in Brawl Stars. See, in Showdown, if you place second, you can still gain trophies, but it it doesn't count as a win. So this guy just spammed second place over and over again, farming trophies while keeping a 0 in his win stats. Now that's what they must mean by the second place curse. I bet this account will actually scare you because it has a total of 0 trophies. But Balootic, I could just make a new account and have 0 trophies too. Okay, yeah, but not like this. This account has golden tick, and literally every brawler unlocked, all with 0 trophies. But here's where it gets cursed. The account also has 18,000 wins in 3v3 and 2,700 wins in Duo Showdown. How? By spamming map maker maps. See, those give you wins, but don't touch your trophies. So this player grinded an entire account with upgrades and everything without ever gaining a single trophy. The dedication is insane and kinda cursed. Speaking of 0 trophy accounts, this one might be the craziest yet. There's a player out there who actually reached high ranks, specifically 35,000 trophies, and then decided to throw it all away. If you look at his stats, it says 0 trophies. But here's the twist. He didn't just stop playing. He manually lost every match to erase his entire progress. Hours of gameplay gone, just to hit rock bottom. Oh, and did I mention he maxed out all of his brawlers to level 11 too? Yeah, Supercell's matchmaking system isn't ready for this guy. When we think of a max main, one name instantly comes to mind, Tensai. Literally the best max player in the entire world. If you even watch one of his clips, it's actually insane. He dodges every single bullet like he's reading the enemy's mind in real time. It's not even gameplay at that point, it's art. I'm convinced he's secretly connected to Max through a hidden USB cable plugged straight into his brain. Did you know that Colette can pull off some of the biggest big brain plays in the game? Bigger than even Gobbling herself. In one tournament match, both teams were neck and neck, tied in gems, tensions rising. But then Colette did something wild. She popped her super, dashed in, and grabbed 1 gem. Just 1! And that tiny move was enough to push her team barely over the enemy score. It actually worked. And secured them the win. Sometimes, all it takes is a single gem, and a Colette with nerves of steel. Sprout might just be the strongest brawler in the game. Well, besides El Primo, of course. But hear me out. There was a time when Sprout could actually move the Ike turret using his wall. He could just throw down his super, and it would push the entire turret like it was nothing. Technically, you could say that a turret moved a turret. The Brawl Stars community was shocked when Supercell dropped daily streak rewards. Yup, actual free stuff just for logging in every single day. But things got even crazier when some players dug into the system and leaked the full list of rewards you could get over a year. And it's kind of insane. We're talking 6 hypercharges, 36 gems, 60 star drops, and a bunch of other goodies just for showing up. Who would have thought Supercell would ever be this generous? At least now you know. Never miss a day of your Brawl Stars addiction. Did you know that Rosa is a straight copy of El Primo? Yeah, when she dropped, players hated her. And honestly, they had a point. She was insanely overpowered. At the time, El Primo was already one of the best brawlers, so Supercell thought, hey, let's just make a stronger version, but with plants. And boom, Rosa was born. But after months of complaints and non-stop rage, Supercell finally nerfed her into the ground. And ever since, she's been one of the worst brawlers in the entire game. From being broken to totally forgotten. What a legacy. Did you know that back in the day, you could actually get the Brawl Pass without spending a single penny? Yup, it's true. Before the big Brawl Pass update, you could buy it using gems. And since gems were earnable for free, a lot of players just saved up and got the pass every season. It was awesome, but then Supercell changed everything. Now you have to use real money to buy the Brawl Pass. On one hand, the rewards did get better, both in the free and paid tracks. But on the other hand, it completely ruined the gem saving grind. So yeah, maybe not their worst decision ever, but definitely one that left a lot of players disappointed. This has to be the worst trio in all of Brawl Stars. Piper, Byron, and Barley. And the reason? They've got 0 synergy. Like, absolutely none. It feels like Supercell just threw 3 random brawlers into a group and called it a day. Sure, you can imagine they all work different jobs in the same town or something, but even the lore can't help this mess. They don't vibe, they don't match, and Byron just stands there menacingly. Sorry, trio fans, this one's a total flop. Oh, better watch how he moves. Literally, because if you walk to the right, his arrows spread out like fireworks. But if you move to the left, they suddenly tighten up and hit the same spot like a laser beam. Speaking of moving and shooting, Leon's the same. Moving to the right spreads out shurikens, and moving to the left concentrates them. Make sure to pop your gadget right as you're attacking with Shade, because if you time it just right, you'll get 2 boosted shots instead of 1. Abuse walls with Charlie. Every time you attack, make sure you're hiding behind a wall because her yo-yo doesn't care about obstacles on the way back. When you shoot the ball with Cordelius and there's a defender standing in the goal, just shoot the ball toward the goal, and right before it goes in, use your super, pulling the enemy into the shadow realm and leaving the goal wide open. Did you know Pearl can actually hit enemies through walls with her super? If someone's hiding behind cover, all you have to do is sneak up, time that super just right, and boom. Ray might just be one of the best troll brawlers in the game. In Brawl Ball, try shooting the ball forward, pull an enemy with your gadget, and then teleport straight into the ball. This way you did a self pass and destroy defense. Otis is a trap master, and you need to start playing him like one. If you're in a match, try throwing his super right into the center of the map, because chances are someone's gonna walk straight into it. Dynamite might be one of the hardest brawlers to master, and it's all because of his iconic Dyna jump. But once you get the hang of it, he becomes insane. I decided to see just how many Dyna jumps I could chain in a row, and yeah, it's totally overpowered. As long as you time it right and keep placing those dynamites perfectly, you can basically fly across the entire map non-stop. I guess that's why he has a canary under his hat. If there was one brawler who deserves a trophy for annoying people just by running away, it's gotta be Janet. When she dropped in 2022, she became the first brawler who could actually fly. And once players realized her super gave her full flight time, they used it to run around the map non-stop. Chasing her was like trying to catch a mosquito. Did you know that back in October 2022, there was an online trend that made tons of players suddenly start playing Mortis like total bots? Yep, it was the Mortis trickshot trend. Players were watching these compilations of pros landing insane trickshot goals like it was nothing, but when they tried it in an actual match, it looked nothing like it. It basically turned half the player base into bad randoms overnight.
I bet you think tanks should always be the gem carriers in gem grab. Well, that's actually not true. A lot of players assume that more health means a better chance to win, but what really matters is picking a long-range, versatile brawler. These brawlers can escape tricky situations and hold their ground when things get messy. So next time you're in gem grab, maybe leave the gems to someone who can run. Did you know you can accidentally KO your own teammate in Brawl Ball? If you use your super to pass the ball and it hits a teammate with low HP, it can actually cause damage and even finish them off. If you've maxed your account, don't fall into the trap of buying too many true gold and silver skins. Sure, they're a flex, but they're literally just expensive recolors of default skins. And the worst part, both of these skins will cost you roughly 35,000 coins, and as soon as you drop all of that gold, a new Brawl Talk drops, and suddenly there's a shiny new brawler you can't afford to upgrade. Luckily, I'm already in gold debt, so I can't even make this mistake. But speaking of skins, spending your gems on them is a horrible idea. Gems are super valuable for progressing your account, and washing them on skins can really hurt your progress. Instead, focus on using them for hypercharges, because it's a much smarter investment which will make you win more matches. I'd usually say to save them for the Brawl Pass, but Supercell removed that option. Thanks, Supercell! Supercell completely forgot about this mistake. With the introduction of unlimited trophies for brawlers, players could rack up insane amount of trophies. However, Trophy Road is still capped at 70,000 trophies, leaving high-tier players completely unrewarded. Some players have even hit 20,000 trophies with a single brawler. But guess what? The only reward they get from this is a super cheap water bill. Get it? Because they don't take showers? Another creative idea that Supercell rejected is a combo modifier. Inspired by Marvel's synergy system, it's supposed to be released after all the hypercharges were added to the game. So if two specific brawlers teamed up, they'd unlock a special passive ability. This modifier would encourage players to try brawlers they usually ignored for a better chance at winning, and the only requirement is to be silver 1 in ranked matches. Guess I can't participate. While Sprout can push bosses around with ease, did you know it can also move Ikes? If you're unfamiliar, Ikes are the turrets you need to destroy to win certain game modes, but if you aim Sprouts' super just right, you can actually move the Ike across the battlefield. Just imagine if two Ikes encountered each other. I think Brawl Stars' servers would actually explode. Did you know you can literally invade other players' lobbies? All you have to do is open the Join Team code menu, create your own code, and copy it. Then, by simply changing the last number in the code and trying a few variations, you'll eventually sneak into a random player's lobby, and you can throw all their games. Wait, why did you kick me? Meeple has been around for a bit, but players have already found clever ways to make him super annoying. Just like in this Brawl Ball match where Baby stole the ball from the opposing team and was about to score a goal with her super. But just as she was about to pull it off, Meeple used his stunning gadget to stop the ball. It might not have been BB's lucky day, but it sure was for the enemy team. Piper just got saved by her rival Mandy in the most unexpected way. As Piper was fleeing from Mortis, who had the advantage and was closing in for an easy kill, Mandy's super came out of nowhere and blasted straight through Mortis like like a train. Piper then simply celebrated her unbelievable luck by spinning around and picking up leftover power cubes. If you've ever wondered what a 0.001% chance in Brawl Stars looks like, it's definitely this. 5 Alien Fame players with gold skins joining the same 5v5 match. And yes, this actually happened. These players somehow perfectly joined at the same time, creating what might be the luckiest and rarest moment in Brawl Stars history. I can't even imagine how terrified their opponents must have been. I bet this is the luckiest 8-bit main out there. First, he dodges Cold's bullet barrage, then Piper's sniper shot. After that, he avoids balls and teleports out of Mandy's super projectile. And as the cherry on top, he manages to escape Tick's head by teleporting too. Honestly, watching this 8-bit's gameplay almost gave me a heart attack. From the moment quests were introduced in Brawl Stars, players had been dreaming about Ultra quests, but Supercell has avoided the idea completely. These quests would appear at the start of each season and involve insanely tough challenges, like dealing 100 million damage with massive rewards like 100 gems. But let's be real, Supercell doesn't like when we work too hard, or maybe they just don't like giving away stuff for free. Kudos were added to the game to boost players' confidence and spread positivity, but instead they've almost turned into a way to sarcastically call someone a noob. Still, no matter what they mean, just imagine if you could track how many kudos you've given or received. Well, that's essentially what the community suggested, and honestly, if this feature didn't get rejected, I'd probably have a million kudos.
Balootic, you know that's not a good thing, right?
Shut up!
If you're playing Gray and you are facing an enemy in a better position, try the pull and teleport move. Use Gray's pull gadget and his super at the same time, and you'll teleport while pulling the enemy into the spot you just left, completely switching positions. This trick is super handy in Showdown, as you can pull the enemy straight into the poison zone. Come over here! Did you know you could trap enemies inside unbreakable walls? Back during the Angels vs Demons update, Gene players had a hilarious trick where he could use his super to pull enemies into a breakable tile surrounded by unbreakable walls. Once they were stuck, there was no escape. All you had to do was position yourself near that structure and time your pull just right. While this bug isn't around anymore, if Supercell messed up once, they might do it again. So keep this strategy just in case. Did you know Ash can score free bounty points for his team? To do this, equip his gadget that exchanges health for rage. If you're up against RT in a bounty match and he pings you, activate the gadget to effectively eliminate yourself. But here's the twist. RT doesn't get the bounty points for your death. Instead, your team gets them. Who would have thought self-destructing could actually help you win a match? Challenges are a pretty cool addition to the game, especially since they give out free rewards. But let's be real, they're only fun until you run out of lives. Everyone knows that feeling when you're one win away from the final reward, and then you lose the challenge. Seriously, it almost feels like Supercell rigs that last win just to mess with us. Legendary drops shouldn't even be called legendary, because let's be real, you're 99% guaranteed to get something bad, and that 1% chance is probably just gonna give you Shelly. They don't even compare with mega boxes because back in the day, opening a mega box actually felt exciting. You could pull a legendary or a ton of coins, but now opening legendary drops feel more like a common pin pack. We totally need mega boxes back. If you ever wondered what top tier trolling looks like in Brawl Stars, then this is the perfect example. During a big boss match, the boss was Sprout, and the way he won was actually hilarious. He charged up his super, ran into a corner, and completely walled himself in, making it absolutely impossible for anybody to reach him. Then, he just kept spamming his regular attacks from behind the wall and literally won the match doing only that. I guess this is exactly why Big Boss got removed. Today might be the happiest day of my life because I just found out El Primo has a secret ability. Yep, you heard that right. He actually has a quantum tunneling super? What? And if you don't believe me, just watch this clip. During a gem grab match, a player stole some gems, hid in a bush, and then literally phased through a wall. This right here, guys, this is why El Primo is the GOAT. Pulling with Gray can be tricky, but this glitch was next level. During the Godzilla event, if you picked Gray and loaded into the match, you could completely freeze Godzilla for the entire game. All you had to do was use Gray's hook gadget when Godzilla was near the unbreakable walls, and boom, he'd be stuck forever. Many players abuse this trick, and let's just say it caused a lot of frustration, with players losing their egg drops and their minds. I bet you didn't know that there was a time when your coins and gems could just vanish. Some players would casually play Brawl Stars like usual, but when they looked at the top right corner, their resources were completely gone. And there was a picture of Hot El Primo! Okay, not really, but there was nothing. Just an empty space. For a second, it made players think Supercell had stolen all their coins and gems. But don't worry, Hot El Primo doesn't exist. Or does he? Sometimes I worry that Supercell might actually make us pay for 2 skins for Larry and Lori since they're technically 2 2 brawlers in one. And weirdly enough, that almost became a reality with the strange half-skin glitch. If you unlocked a Larry and Lori skin from a drop, there was a chance that the glitch would only apply the skin to Larry, leaving Lori unchanged. Maybe Lori just didn't like the design. Honestly, I can't blame him. Neither do I. This next glitch literally erased an entire season's progress in ranked. As we know, ranks in ranked mode upgrade your icon each season when you reach them. But some players started a new season, played until they got back to their previous rank, and when they unlocked it, nothing changed. No extra stars, no upgraded icon, just the same one as before. Meaning all that grinding in the previous season was all for absolutely nothing. You know that guy who always says, "I'm crazy with Colt, trust me bro"? Well, this is essentially a live replay of those pro moves. First, he completely misses all of his shots on Bull, then follows it up by shooting straight into a wall. But it gets worse. He runs away and uses his wall breaking gadget, only to miss Bull by a mile. If you play like this, maybe just stick to Edgar instead. If you're playing Stu, then you need to know this triple dash trick. If you're already picking Stu, chances are you're one of those players who are pretty good with him. But adding this move to your strategy makes you even deadlier. Here's how it works. Approach your enemy from the side with a pre-charged super, then activate your super, shoot, and immediately spam super again. This lets you dash twice in a row. Why? Because Stu fires 2 bullets per attack, and each bullet charges his super fully, allowing you to chain 2 dashes back to back. The only catch is that you'll need good ping for it to work. Otherwise, you're just gonna look dumb and get demolished. Many Sam players make the mistake of throwing his super at enemies first and then using his regular attack. But that's completely wrong. You should actually start by attacking with his knuckles on before throwing the super, because that way you deal nearly double the damage compared to attacking without them. Plus, this lets you pull off his full combo. 2 strong attacks, then the super, followed by 2 weaker attacks. Did you ever wonder what it's like to work as Supercell support? Just chilling all day, banning players for fun, and stacking on spike cookies? So naturally, you decide to apply, only to get brutally rejected. But instead of giving up, you pretend to be support yourself. And just when you think you're living the dream, telling your friend he's getting banned for bad grades, a real support steps in and you get banned instead. And now you learned that disguising as support is a legit way to get banned. Womp womp. We all have that one friend who sends those suspicious links, and the unspoken rule is never click them. But if that friend ever decides to drop one of those shady links inside Brawl Stars, Supercell will step in and personally ban them for it. So, at the very least, let Brawl Stars be a safe zone from that one chaotic friend. Did you know using a VPN can actually get you banned? Changing your server to play against less competitive players goes against Supercell's terms of service, so don't be surprised if you end up with a suspension. But wait, does that mean if you physically travel to a country with weaker players, you could get banned too? I guess that means you are banned from traveling if you're a Brawl Stars player. If you're bored from playing too many casual game modes in Brawl Stars, then you need to try this sniper tag map. So, you get 9 friends to play custom showdown on this map and break the power cube boxes so only you as the tagger get to take them. Then, you're going to stand in the middle of the map with Piper and randomly shoot into the bushes. Whichever players stay alive last wins. This sounds exactly like something Mr. Beast would do if he played Brawl Stars. Did you know Supercell released probably the most effortless map in Brawl Stars? I'm talking about the H map. It's basically your average Brawl Stars map, except the bushes are shaped like the letter H. Maybe they want helicopters to land in the middle, but knowing developers, they probably thought there are some helicopters on accident. If you've ever played Brawl Stars for even a minute of your life, then you know what peak satisfaction feels like. Landing every single super as El Primo. There's just something magical about flying through the air, body slamming a poor brawler into the ground, stunning them, and then finishing them off with a barrage of punches. And the best part is, you could just keep doing it over and over and over. I can't stop! El Primo on top! Pro mains that chase you across the entire map just to get one kill are some of the most annoying players out there. But you know what the best part is? Most of the time, they're total noobs. So when they finally get their super, they panic, auto-aim, and launch themselves straight at you, with zero calculations and brain cells. And if you already know the trick, just stand still. They'll miss it completely. It's actually hilarious. Like, bro, get out! Speaking of insane accounts, there's only one person in the entire world who owns every Brawl Stars skin ever released, and that's YouTuber Ray OJ. Yup, this guy's been grinding since day one, collecting every single skin, even the ultra exclusive ones most players never even saw in their shop. So yeah, his account isn't just legendary, it's also cursed. And not just cursed with dedication, it's also cursed with a melted wallet. I bet you didn't know there's a secret feature that can make your Brawl Stars account really stand out, and it's called the Prestige Badge. To get one, all you need to do is hit top 200 in the world with a specific brawler and trophies. And if you're still in that top 200 when the season ends, boom, Prestige Badge unlocked. Some players, like Hyra, have stacked a bunch of them, but there's one kit player who took it to another level with 170 badges. Well, he better get some prestige in touching grass. Did you know there's a pass so legendary, it should have entered the Brawl Ball Hall of Fame? Okay, the Hall of Fame doesn't actually exist, but if it did, this pass would be first on it. Because during a match between Zeta Division and Crazy Raccoon, Garo was playing Stu, closing in on the goal. Meow with Surge was the last line of defense. But the next thing that happened was just way too insane. Crazy Raccoon got possession and started passing until Surge went full pro mode, wiped out the attacker, grabbed the ball, and just as he was about to get taken out, bam! Last second trick shot pass to Garo, who scores. 1 in a million. Literal masterpiece. We've all seen how heist matches can come down to just 1%, but FUT actually pulled off one of the cleanest defenses against that kind of clutch play. As the enemy team pushed forward, their Daryl tried to sneak around and pull off a last second win by rushing FUT's safe, but FUT was ready. They were running a full-on defensive strat, and the moment Daryl rolled in, boom, shut down instantly. FUT safe was at 15%, enemy safe at 14%, 1% away from defeat. That was a close call. Some plays in Brawl Stars are so rare, they feel impossible to repeat, and one of them is that goal from Patchy. In this insane Brawl Ball match, his teammate passed him the ball, and Patchy, playing Daryl, rolled in perfectly from long range, timing it just right to score a goal literally a split second before getting eliminated. It's one of those moments you could watch 1,000 times and still not believe it happened. But did you know that Mbappe used to play Brawl Stars? Yup, it actually happened. If you dig through the official Brawl Stars YouTube videos, you'll actually find an old collab with Paris Saint-Germain where players like Mbappe were straight up playing Brawl Ball. And it wasn't just him, Neymar was there too. When fans saw their favorite football legends jumping into Brawl Stars, everyone was like, wait, what? Brawl Stars just casually became a crossover episode with FIFA. Did you know Wasabi basically turned Poco into an unkillable tank with infinite HP? Yup, his Wasabi gear lets him heal every time he takes damage, which sounds kinda okay until you realize how broken it is. Some players still don't get it and waste their entire ammo trying to take him down, while Poco just stands there unfazed with infinite heal. Supercell, it's time to nerf Poco. There was a time when Supercell literally scammed players without even meaning to. Inside the pin collection, some items were showing up as costing 0 bling. Sounds like a steal, right? But here's the catch. When players tried to grab those pins, they didn't spend bling. They spent actual gems. Turns out it was just a visual bug that showed the wrong value, but charged the real one. A bunch of players fell for it, lost gems, and Supercell later fixed the bug, but never gave the gems back. So yeah, poor hidden transactions, I guess. But that's not nearly as crazy as the time Bonnie completely bugged out and her health bar went absolutely insane. Back in the day, if you entered a match and used your super just right, boom, her health bar would start flashing the most ridiculous numbers you've ever seen. I don't know about you, but every time I see that glitch, I start thinking Bonnie might actually be a Matrix agent. Back in the vertical version of Brawl Stars, you had to manually tap in the exact direction you wanted to shoot. There was no aim assist whatsoever. But with the landscape update, Supercell introduced the now infamous auto aim button. At the time, it was seen as a no skill feature, but for global players today, it's just a regular feature we spam all day. What's worse than adding a new level to the game? Well, adding 2. If we're being honest, the level 11 and Gears update is the worst of them all. Supercell dropped 2 levels at once and it instantly created a massive gap between pay to win and free to play players. If you had money, congrats, you could buy your way to domination. But if you didn't, get ready to grind for weeks and get completely destroyed in every match. And don't even get me started on Gears. You couldn't even use them unless your brawler was level 10, and even then, they were ridiculously overpriced. The only way to get them was by collecting gear scrap, which was a total pain. Thankfully, Supercell eventually improved the gear system, but that doesn't mean we've forgotten about this horrible update. If you're about to die while playing Larry, try to quickly place Lori. Then, when you respawn, just use the position swap gadget, and you're instantly back at the spot where you died. You can actually control 2 entities at once using Willow? Yep, if you see Anita who just dropped her Bruce and managed to take control of her, the bear becomes yours too until it gets defeated. When using Mandy's super, charge it up from the bushes, because enemies can't see you loading it. Try hitting multiple enemies with Jae Young, because every time his attack connects, it actually gets stronger. Let's bound BB's bubble in the most satisfying way possible. So I loaded up a custom map filled with wooden fences, and just for some extra satisfaction, I added a bunch of skulls too. Then I let BB rip her bubble, and oh my god, it shattered almost every skull at once and bounced around like a pinball. It was absolute beautiful chaos. Miko is an annoying little monkey, and we all know it. But if you're sick of him bouncing around like it's a jungle, there's one perfect counter: Tick. Apparently, Tick can actually kill Miko while he's mid-air, so of course I had to test it out. I picked Tick, my friend played Miko, and right as he launched his super, I started spamming bombs everywhere. And the second he landed, boom! Miko exploded mid-air. That's a straight up Uno reverse card for every Miko main out there. Let's talk about slowing down some supers with things, because when you do, things get way more satisfying. First up, we've got Draco breathing fire with his dragon, and yeah, it looks pretty cool in slow-mo. Then you've got Fang's gadget. This dude starts throwing shoes everywhere like he's in a rage quit animation, and they just fly through the air. Gale might look like one of the most underrated brawlers in Brawl Stars, but pro players know the truth. He's secretly broken. Especially when he first dropped in 2021, Gale became the first brawler who could push enemies away and cycle his super insanely fast. Also, his star powers are pretty good. One stuns, the other slows, and both are a nightmare to deal with. Players essentially used him to troll enemies by pushing them into zone, and close-ranged brawlers stood zero chance against him. Back in 2021, players were begging for a nerf on none other than Nita. And no, it wasn't just Nita herself, it was Bruce. Her bear basically turned into a stun grenade. Players figured out a combo: spawn one bear, then throw a second one right onto enemies and spam the stun gadget. Add her fast punching star power on top of that, and you basically had a heat-seeking death bear that deleted every brawler. Ranked matches were hell, and Nita quickly became one of the most hated brawlers in the game. I bet you forgot that Surge used to have a gadget that let him teleport. Yup, back in late 2021, he was absolutely surged. Get it? Okay, I'm sorry. However, Surge mains could just sneak up on enemies, teleport over walls in stage 4, and delete them in a few shots like it was nothing. And if things became too dangerous, he could just teleport and run. But then Supercell stepped in and replaced the gadget with a stage upgrade one, and after that, Surge mains were probably crying in their rooms for a while. Rushing with Shelly is the most common mistake players make, and you should avoid it completely. This is because, most of the time, you'll just get demolished by other ranged brawlers. Instead, what you should do is prioritize approaching tanky short-range brawlers, since she's an anti-tank brawler. Also, be sure to never camp in bushes, or your IP address might end up on someone's list. Bruce should eat enemy bullets. Pause. Let me explain. Most Nita players throw their super anywhere as soon as they get it, and this usually ends up with Bruce dying instantaneously, without contributing to your match. However, a much better way to use him is to literally make him your meat shield when getting shot at by non-piercing projectiles. In other cases, where you're facing AoE or piercing attacks, try throwing Bruce right beside your enemy, and now he'll be a distraction, letting you get away. Auto-aim has to be one of the most common mistakes new players make. I know I've mentioned this before, but unless you're being chased, auto-aiming with long-range brawlers like Colt will make you miss nearly every shot. Also, make sure to strafe when shooting moving targets, and you're on a good path to being a pro. Just like me. Never mind. If you're playing Bull, then stop dying in 3 seconds. In other words, when you choose a Bull to play a match, don't rush to the center with your super thinking you have enough health, because trust me, you don't. The most annoying thing you can do in Brawl Stars is probably to break defense walls. This will certainly make players hate you, and I know you're going to say, but Balootic, it was an accident. Well, you were too. Okay, jokes aside, when you're playing with Brock and Brawl Ball, for example, try to avoid using your super on your team side, because chances are you're just going to lose. What if brawlers got a 3rd star power? It could completely change the way they're played. Adding a new ability would give players more strategies to try and maybe even encourage them to use brawlers they've never tried before. It could also drastically shift the meta, making matches way more unpredictable and exciting. However, let's just hope this idea doesn't make people want a second hypercharge, because that would be way too much. Look at this coffin dance Brock skin. Sure, it might not actually benefit the game whatsoever, but it looks super funny and would be used by everybody. Supercell has to add this. One of the most unique ideas out there is for Gray's custom gear called Hole-in-One. This gear would allow Gray's bullets to travel through his portals on the floor, allowing him to pull off some of the most tactical shots ever. Besides shooting your bullets through a portal, you could also pull enemies with this gadget. If you ask me, that would be absolutely terrifying.
But speaking of gears, imagine if Fang got a gear called Other Shoe too. This gear concept would let him shoot his other shoe after kicking. The second shoe wouldn't charge his super, but it would deal the same damage as the first. Honestly, this is just a distraction from what everyone wants to know though. Where does Fang keep getting shoes from? Most players think duels in the only mode without bots, but that's not entirely true. If you lose a few matches in duels and queue up again, you'll actually face a bot in your next match. Today, bots only appear for one round, but in the past, you could spam the play again button and keep facing bots endlessly. This let players rack up tons of trophies on their accounts with almost no effort. Man, I'm jealous. Who's faster, Carl or Mortis? Most of you probably said Mortis, but you'd be wrong. However, you can test this out by challenging your friend to a race and saying whoever wins gets gems. Then, all you need to do is use Carl's super and gadget to zoom past them and easily win the race. This is probably the best way to earn gems. Too bad when I tried it, I got scammed. If you ever thought an enemy couldn't become your teammate, this Melody proves otherwise. So, Melody's rushing to the goal like usual when Stu comes speeding in from behind and the goal is wide open. And you'd think she's throwing the game by passing the ball to Stu, but you'd be wrong. Stu actually passes the ball back to her, not once, but twice. And then Melody scores her goal. Yeah, this Stu just lost a generational aura. But no one was as lucky as this Edgar right here, who somehow escaped elimination not once, not twice, but 3 times in one match. First, he dodges another Edgar mid-jump while on low HP, and then another Edgar jumps on him, and he manages to flee again. And as the cherry on cake, Cordelius pops out of a bush. But guess what? Edgar escapes once more. Too bad he can't escape from me dive bombing through his window. This Frank might be the luckiest noob ever. He was hiding in the bushes, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. When he finally used his super, he got countered by Kit, and everyone thought it was game over for him. But in an insane twist, Frank instantly flipped the tables and wiped out the entire team in under a second. I guess this proves that Frank is unkillable. Well, aside from the fact that he's a zombie. But that's not as bad as the BB getting rid of her generational luck. She dashes straight for the ball on the left side of the goal and grabs it, but now she's up against Rico and Dynamite, who immediately start shredding her health. Just when it seems like it's over, Dynamite makes a huge mistake. He throws his super bomb right into his own goal, and then as she's about to die, BB takes a shot into the destroyed part of the goal and scores! Yeah, good luck seeing something like this happen in Brawl Stars again. Did you know Willow is secretly the best Dynamite player? Sounds crazy, but that's exactly what happened here. Dynamite was about to get destroyed by Mortis, but then Willow took control, pulled off a stunning triple Dynamite jump, and landed an insane kill on Mortis. Honestly, Dynamite owes Willow at least 100 gems for that clutch save. One of the luckiest moments ever has to be when streamer Skrek was opening a hypercharge drop and wished for Piper's hypercharge.
One that I'm looking for, Piper. Let's go.
Then instantly got it right after. Yeah, who said Supercell doesn't hear us? Okay, now, please remove Edgar. Please remove Edgar. One of the most creative ideas for Brawl Stars that got rejected was trading. The concept was simple. Players could trade cosmetics, resources, and maybe even Brawler. It would have been the perfect way to use up those millions of unused power points and make the game more free-to-play friendly. But wait, did someone say free? Yeah, that's a hard reject from Supercell. Everyone knows about map makers. And sure, some custom apps are pretty fun, but honestly, the community has had enough of it. And that's when the mode maker idea popped up. Instead of just creating a map, you could create your own custom game mode as well. You'd be able to tweak existing game mode settings, add different objectives, and really get creative with the gameplay. This wouldn't even be that crazy of an idea either, seeing how games like Fortnite already do this. Mandy might be completely broken with this strategy. Her super can fire almost across the entire map, so all you have to do is call a friend to scout the enemy locations. Also, make sure to position yourself in the center of the map. Using a clock system, your friend can call out enemy positions through voice chat, and you can aim and fire your super at those spots. If you get it right, you can wipe out every enemy without even seeing them. You can win heist with Chuck only. All you need to do is strategically place his pulls around the map, leading straight to the enemy safe. Then, use his super to zip back and forth, attacking their safe while defending your own. Even if they manage to take you down, just pop your super and boom, you're back at their safe, ready to attack again. Notifications are totally annoying, especially when your taxman messages you. But there's nothing worse than the low battery notification that always pops up in the middle of a battle, which you can't even mute. You press OK, and boom, you're literally eliminated. However, some phones have notifications that don't interrupt gameplay, which is something iPhone should definitely consider. Yeah, we're all switching to pair phones after that one.
Teaming has been haunting players since the very beginning of Brawl Stars, and honestly, it's a total nightmare. You load into a solo showdown just to see 3 players teaming up against you and demolish you. Supercell already tried fixing this by adding duo showdown into the game, which didn't solve anything. But hey, if it takes a whole squad to take you down, maybe that just means you're a pro. Gold ranked was already frustrating, but the new system is even worse. Back in the day, you only need 12 level 9 brawlers to reach diamond rank, but after the rework, you now need 12 level 11 brawlers just to play in Mythic League. Yeah, inflation has even hit Brawl Stars rank. Look guys, I love El Primo, but some players make you wish he never existed. Okay, maybe that's a little bit harsh, but you've definitely played with that El Primo in Gem Grab. You know, the one who hoards all the gems, and just when your team's about to win, he does that El Primo jump and loses everything. I'd call those players El Mido because they're just mid. When a new brawler drops and they're completely overpowered, you already know what's coming. Every match gets flooded with that brawler. Seriously, it's like they're the only character in the game. The most insane example of this, Buzz Lightyear. When Buzz Lightyear dropped, the game basically became unplayable. So many players just straight up quit until Supercell finally stepped in and nerfed him. But by then, most people had already gotten bored and moved on. This Mortis pulled the biggest trick shot in the game. Well, not really. In this Brawl Ball match, Bo cleared out the entire enemy team at the goal, giving Mortis a perfect chance to score. But instead of taking the shot, Mortis pulled out his secret move, waiting for the enemy team to respawn and passing the ball right to them, which ended up losing the game for his team. Speaking of trick shots, this one's actually real. Maisie pulled off a true solo score in Brawl Ball against 3 enemies. She had the ball, while her teammates were eliminated, and the goal was fully defended. But just when the enemy team thought they had the upper hand, Maisie used her super to knock all of them back and scored a goal, tying the match. She definitely got back pain from all of that carrying. But you know what else is frustrating? Mr. P. Back when boxes made their return in the game, there was a bug where opening them could glitch out and give you the same pin 10 times in a row. Just like this player, who opened a box only to get a bunch of angry Mr. P pins. Honestly, I just think that was a secret collaboration with Angry Birds. Have you ever been so close to getting something only to miss out at the last second? Well, some players experience this with a crazy locked up jackpot. When checking their daily freebies in the shop, they'd collect their free resources only to see a jackpot hidden behind the Brawl Pass. This left many players frustrated, but luckily, Supercell eventually fixed it. But give me that jackpot! I bet you didn't know that one of the funniest team combinations in all of Brawl Stars is Poco and Doug, and that's because they match up perfectly. While Poco's doing his idle guitar solo animation, Doug is right there dancing along. You can throw literally any music over it, and it'll look amazing every single time.
Most players are using their hypercharge completely wrong. Right after activating it, they instantly use their super, which is a huge mistake. What you should actually be doing is wait until the end of your hypercharge to use your super, so you still get the boosted version and start recharging hyper again right away. This basically creates a hyper loop. It's super noticeable with brawlers like Janet, who can refill up to 75% of her hyper by just hitting every attack of her super. If you ever play Miko and run into another Miko in a match, make sure you never jump first, because the Miko that jumps first almost always loses. There's a really cool trick with Max's super. If you're playing support Max, make sure to call your whole team over when you get your hypercharge ready. If you activate your hypercharge super while everyone is close by, you'll almost instantly refill your super bar. Then, just land one hit on an enemy, and boom, your super is full again. You can repeat this cycle up to 3 times, giving your teammates a constant stream of energy drinks and letting them spam their supers to wipe out the entire team. Never play Lumi. No, seriously, I'm not joking. If you enter a match with Lumi and the enemy team has Miko, just leave the match immediately. When Lumi throws both of her balls on the field, you're left with 1 ammo to pick them back up. But if Miko jumps you while you're in ballless mode, you become completely useless, because you literally can't pick up your balls anymore. But hey, at least Miko never had any to begin with. Supercell is actually going after you if you cancel a gem purchase. Seriously, if you try to buy gems and then cancel the transaction, Supercell can take a negative amount of gems from your account. And if that number gets too high, you could end up on the ban list. So yeah, maybe make sure you're 100% sure before spending your life savings on gems. Never idle in Brawl Stars rank, because doing so much actually might get you a 24-hour ranked ban. A content creator named Composure found this out the hard way when he stepped away for just 30 seconds to answer the door. The game told him to reconnect, which he did, and he even helped his team win the match. But once he returned to the lobby, he was hit with a message saying he was banned from ranked, despite reconnecting and playing normally. This map is pretty wild, and it actually introduces a brand new game mode idea. It's called 1v1 Heist, and you're supposed to take the same brawler as your enemy and fight against them in a small space with 2 heist safes. Sounds simple, right? But here's the thing. If you're both playing Frank, it just turns into a battle of who can mash buttons faster and land their stuns first. This is basically just a test of reaction time, and honestly, I can imagine playing it
it more than twice without losing my mind. Have you ever wondered what peak Colt gameplay looks like? It's when you blaze through multiple enemies with just one ammo shot. It's clean, precise, and satisfying. But things get even better when you use that super and start even popping those walls. But to pull off those insane moments, there's one tiny requirement. You actually need to know how to play Colt first. You know when things need to get satisfying. That's the moment I call my bouncer, Rico. His entire kit is built for it, and when a function contains tight spaces, you already know it's about to get chaotic. Ultimate Rico Burst. I mean, his balls are just way too satisfying to play with. Sometimes you're even bouncing them off the walls for no reason at all, just because it feels good, and then you end up getting yourself killed. Daryl's honestly not even worth playing if you don't have his spinning gadget. Without it, you can't roll straight into the heist safe and unload every single shell into it like a walking turret. Take that, heist safe. One of the most mind-blowing moments in Brawl Stars history was when an entire team lost $100,000 because of a single troll pick. And the genius behind that decision was none other than Juan Carlos himself. During a high-stakes tournament, Juan thought it was a great idea to pick Kid on a wide-open map against a team of long-range sharpshooters. The second the match started, it was clear who was walking away with the prize money, and what looked like a simple troll quickly turned into a serious debate. Is Juan just a troll, or actually a noob? Either way, he delivered a legendary kit performance of 0-11, a score the entire Brawl Stars community will never forget. Speaking of fails, this one was brutal. During the 2024 World Finals, SK Gaming and Elevate were locked in a World Finals Brawl Stars match. SK pulled off a clean team wipe, and it looked like an easy goal was coming, but then Joker did something unbelievable. His teammates passed him the ball, then he rushed toward the goal, and instead of just scoring, he went for a cool trick shot. And yup, you guessed it, he missed it. Right at that moment, the enemy team respawned, stole the ball, and the whole play fell apart. This reminds me of a classic Mortis trick shot moment, just without Mortis. Speaking of Kenji, there was a time when he could ruin an entire match for everyone. No joke. If you picked him in the brawler menu and queued into Brawl Ball, and the map had water outside the borders, well, get ready for chaos. All you had to do was grab the ball, walk over to the edge, and use your super on the water. Boom! The ball would literally no-clip onto the water, completely unreachable. That was a clear sign for Brawl Stars to add water polo. After players figured out how easy it was to destroy Kenji using Spike and a few other overpowered brawlers, the next question was obvious. What happens if you actually beat all 16 insane levels? Unlimited sushi drops? Hidden rewards? Well, they tested it. And after finally clearing every level, a secret message popped up on the screen. You guys rock. That's it. Huh? That's cute, Supercell. I'll forgive the $10 bugs. For now. This glitch could literally get you banned. When Supercell reworked rank, there was a short period of time where you could pick a brawler before it got banned and still use it after. Totally broken. But once players started abusing it, Supercell patched it fast. Try it now and the game just boosts you and gives you a ranked ban. So yeah, maybe don't. If you played Brawl Stars during its global launch, then you definitely remember the Leon drama. Right as the game went worldwide, Supercell dropped him as a brand new legendary brawler. But things got messy fast. For the first time ever, Brawl Stars introduced a brawler who was not only insanely overpowered, but also ridiculously hard to unlock. Leon's invincibility ability was totally new, his damage was broken, and unless you were super lucky or cracked open a mountain of mega boxes, you had zero chance of getting him, making him officially the first pay-to-win brawler. We all remember the excitement of opening boxes and pulling insane rewards, but Supercell thought they were being way too generous, so they scrapped them and replaced everything with star drops. Now sure, everyone knows that part, but what most people don't realize is how much it ruined the experience for longtime players who were already used to the old system. Star drops only give one item, and let's be honest guys, it's usually trash. Even today, this is still one of the most hated updates ever. But that wasn't nearly as disrespectful as this next update, because Brawl Stars literally changed the entire way the game was played in just one patch. See, back in the early beta days, Brawl Stars was played vertically, and it stayed that way for over a year. But then, just out of nowhere, Supercell dropped an update that switched the game to landscape mode. At first, it was badly received by fans, but in the long run, this update led to so many great features like gadgets and hypercharges. Not to mention that it saved us from tap-to-play gameplay. Yeah, I'm so glad they made this change. If you're using Crow, equip his damage reduction star power. Jump in, tag the enemies, and now they're dealing less damage while your team cleans them up with ease. Throw Spike's curveball in multiple directions to make it harder for enemies to dodge them. Shoot Tara's super on an open field, because if anything gets in a way while the enemy is getting dragged into the hole, it'll make the stun shorter. Place Penny's barrel close to the enemies to deal more damage with her shots. When playing Miko in Showdown, there's one thing you need to do. Equip the record smash star power, because with with it, Miko can break boxes in just 2 hits, letting you grab power keeps way faster than anyone else. Doug has an amazing hot dog. Anyway, what most players don't know is that you actually shouldn't save Doug's revivability for the very last second. Instead, the real pro move is using it when you're around half HP, then rushing the enemy like a maniac to charge another super. That way, even if they take you out, you'll have another revive. Everyone knows Sprout can use his wall to give himself a little push. But what happens if we try to launch him over 100 tiles of water? Let's find out. I built a custom map with 2 tiny islands, so small that Sprout's wall can cover the entire thing. So I threw the wall and holy El Primo! Sprout actually launched himself across 100 tiles of water straight onto the other island. Guess we found the new fastest brawler in the game. And now, the Edgar. Dropped in 2020 and instantly became the king of no skill wins. He was the first brawler after Mortis to have lifesteal, but unlike Mortis, Edgar had it built right into his main attacks. And when you combine that with his jump super and also did damage, it was essentially game over. You'd just be walking down the map, minding your own business, and out of nowhere, boom! Edgar jumps on you, starts healing like crazy while you do 0 damage back. It was the golden age of skillless gameplay and literal definition of press button to win. Many players know that Crow's always been pretty strong in Brawl Stars, especially with some crazy mechanics like flying across the map with the ball in Brawl Ball. But even back then, he wasn't as hated as he was in late 2020. That's when his damage over time ability really started to drive people crazy, because that's exactly when Byron dropped, a brawler who also dealt damage over time. And together, players discovered the most annoying combo ever, Crow plus Byron. The constant chip damage made it nearly impossible for enemies to heal, and to make things worse, Crow also reduced enemy damage by 30% and could slow them down with his gadget. Back when players were already struggling with auto-aiming hackers ruining matches, Supercell decided to drop a brawler that felt like a straight-up joke, Amber. Her release was not well received, mainly because she was the first brawler that required 0 aim to play. Just hold the button and melt everything in your path. Her fire stream was long, super easy to control, and dealt a ton of damage. At the time, it honestly felt like Supercell looked at the hackers and said, you know what, let's just make a brawler with such a feature.
Have you ever heard of Spotify Wrapped? It's a feature that shows your top songs and stats from the past year. Well, some fans think Brawl Stars should have something similar. Brawl Stars Wrapped. Imagine getting a full recap of your year, with your most played brawler, total eliminations, season progress, and maybe even how many times you carried your team. Here's a creative new game mode, big game, but 3v3. Imagine this. There are 2 teams, each with their own big brawler boss, and the goal is to take down the enemy team's big brawler while protecting your own. The first team to win 2 rounds takes the match. Also, every round, a different player gets to the big brawler, switching up the strategy every time. I don't know. Something about Big Hank kinda scares me. Hypercharged skins are an awesome addition to the game, but let's be real. Some brawlers actually look better without their transformations. Which begs the question, what if we had a toggle to turn the hypercharge effect on or off? Kind of like the skin randomizer button. Honestly, this feature would make so much more sense for certain skins. I mean, have you seen Godzilla Buzz shooting lasers from his butt? That alone would make me turn this button on. Did you know you can make Penny's turret shoot across the entire map? Of course, there's a trusty spyglass gadget for that, but you don't even need it. If you place your turret on top of a teleporter, it'll teleport while still targeting the enemies it locked onto before. This essentially turns your turret into a peekaboo machine, catching enemies completely off guard. Ruff might be the only brawler to deliver actual air support. If you use a jump pad with a teammate, you'll keep raising their max HP even while flying through the air. It's probably the only time in game you can heal mid-flight. Supercell pulled one of the biggest pranks on the entire Brawl Stars community with their evil April Fool's joke. They teased a meme skin called Egg Pam, which was literally just Pam shaped like an egg, and it instantly went viral online. Players thought Supercell was showing some love to the meme side of the community with this hilarious idea, but it turned out to just be an April Fool's announcement. However, rumor has it that they actually made the skin for fun, and there are probably files of it hidden somewhere in the game. Spike used to look absolutely goofy. If you check out his old concept art, there were versions of him with eyes and even a nose. But luckily, Supercell made the right call by going with the eyeless design we have today. Besides Shelly having her chicken friend scrapped, she's also the only brawler which got her winning animation rejected by Brawl Stars. In it, she essentially pumps up her shotgun and she just stands there. Yeah, I could see why they decided to remove it, because if it was supposed to be a victory animation, well, that's certainly not how you celebrate.
Some brawlers can charge their super pretty easily, while others not so much. But the worst pain ever is when you dive into a dangerous fight, barely make it to cover, and realize your super is at 99% with just 1 HP left, and then only to get killed the second you try to finish charging it. Ugh. I bet you've been invited by a friend to Brawl Stars at their place, and you were pretty excited about it. But then you realize they have the worst Wi-Fi ever. Every time you try to move or shoot, everything lags like crazy, and you just end up getting killed. That's also the moment when you do El Primo jump on their Wi-Fi router, which probably explains why they blocked you forever. Do you know who the biggest enemy of Brawl Stars players is? Okay, Edgar players are pretty bad, but there's someone even worse. Players with troll names in Brawl Ball. They're usually tryhards, and when they score, you'll see the wildest names pop up like, haha, losers, I scored. And trust me, there are much worse names out there, and they'll definitely make you eat your phone for breakfast. I bet you didn't know there was a dislike pin that basically cost a team $1 million. It all went down during the World Cup Finals in 2021 when Tribe faced off against Ints in a siege match, and Tribe got way too toxic. Instead of focusing on the bolts, they kept spinning and spamming the dislike pin every time they got a kill. But karma hit fast. Ints turned the game around, took full control, and ended up winning the entire match, costing Tribe the championship and $1 million prize. Definitely the most expensive dislike button in Brawl Stars history. Back in the Brawl Time event, Supercell hosted a massive giveaway where players could win 1 million gems by posting a Valentine's moment related to Brawl Stars on social media. And one lucky couple actually won. The player shared a photo of himself and his girlfriend at a cosplay convention, and Supercell picked them as the winners. Since both of them played the game, they had to split the prize, getting 50,000 gems each. The plot twist? The guy already had a maxed out account, but his girlfriend didn't, so the gems were a huge boost for her. Seems like having a girlfriend is a legit way to boost your Brawl Stars account. This player literally had plot armor. While playing Jessie in solo showdown, she was nearly taken out by Crow's poison, until Crow tried to finish her off with his super, and got absolutely demolished instead. Yeah, Crow's probably not jumping back into Brawl Stars anytime soon after that one. When using Ollie's super, players will usually predict it and try to do their super, but when you notice it that they're countering, use his jumping gadget to avoid the super. Mortis has a ton of mechanics, but one of the coolest ones is the wall dash. If you're playing Brawl Ball, bounce the ball off the wall, then dash to catch it. If done right, you're going to break your enemy's ankle. Most players have no idea that RT can actually deal double damage just because they're using his super all wrong. Everyone treats RT like a basic long-range brawler, but he's way more powerful up close. When you pop your super, both the body and the head deal damage separately. So next time 3 Edgars decide to jump you at once, just split and melt them with double the firepower. Equip Meg's knockback star power to literally explode on close range enemies when they rush you. Use Max's hypercharge only around all of your teammates because then you're all going to have fully charged supers. Bullet has one of the craziest combos in Brawl Stars, and it can literally delete any brawler. All you need is 2 basic attacks and then hit them with your super and they're gone. Just like that. The only exception is if they've got a shield gear equipped. In that case, you'll need to throw in one more shot. As Meeple, here's the ultimate way to mess with your enemies. Just grab a friend who plays BB. Then the moment you spot an enemy, trap them with your gadget while BB uses her bubble perfectly. Now they'll get stuck in a bouncing bubble prison. Did you know you can make brawlers dance? Well, not really, but their icons sure can. In the brawler menu, there's a sorting option that lets you organize brawlers by who has the most quests. But if you spam this button enough times, the icons start going all over the place. Supercell thought that they fixed this bug, but when they introduced the new favorite brawler sorting, players noticed it was happening again. Looks like Supercell has a bit more work to do on this one. We already know Buzz's Godzilla skin is a bit buggy, but did you know you could use it to steal Leon's super? If you go into a match or training grounds, charge Buzz's hypercharge, activate it, and then spam his super until it runs out, you'll then get stuck in his hypercharge state with a weird flying animation. But here's when it gets crazy. If you use your super again after running out of hypercharge, his skin completely glitches out and you'll appear totally invisible. Sounds overpowered, right? Well, not really, because the glitch was only visible to you. This Spike shot was basically destined to become a meme. Just as 2 low health enemies pass by, Spike throws the perfect curveball and takes them both out at once, popping them like balloons. If you take a look at this Shelly, you can see she's running for her life, firing off her hypercharge and attacking in pure panic. But the terrifying threat chasing her down is Poco, just happily playing his guitar. Nerf Poco! You all know that little annoying Miko that's always chasing you around in matches? Well, he tried going after this bull, thinking he could actually take him down. He even used his super, dropped it aggressively, and jumped around like crazy, but then Bull just turned around and blasted him with one shotgun shot. Yeah, Miko should probably go back to Bloons TD. This Buzz Patrick is literally wearing the perfect skin for his skill level, because he might just be the worst hockey brawl teammate ever. The ball was rolling slowly toward him, and somehow he missed it completely completely, but it didn't stop there. It bounced again, headed straight for the goal, and Buzz missed again. The puck ended up sliding into the goal at basically 0 miles per hour. Let's put Crow's boss killing powers to the test, because as many players know, his hypercharge was basically built to shred bosses. So I hopped into the training grounds to see just how fast he can melt the bot boss. Alright, here we go. Whoa, we're doing tons of damage already. And yo, the boss is only down in 5 seconds. Yeah, I think it's safe to say Crow's a true boss assassin. Controlling Nani's super can be a real challenge sometimes. So I came up with a genius idea. Peep racing. Me and my friends set up a track, took turns launching Peep, and whoever made it the furthest won the race. And let's go! Honestly, this was way more fun than it had any right to be. This literally has to become a game mode in Brawl Stars someday. Supercell is literally lying to you. Back in the day, when you were setting your age for your Brawl Stars account, there was a message under the bar saying this won't affect your gameplay. But this was a huge lie, because if you set your age under 16, you lose about 90% of all social features in the game. No chat, no interactions, nothing. And you couldn't change it. Everyone loves sales in the Brawl Stars shop, but not all of them are worth it, especially old skin sales. Sure, they only cost around 20 gems, but let's be honest, you're probably never going to use them. And even if you do, chances are you'll pull a better skin from your next star drop and instantly forget about that outdated one you just bought. So instead of falling for the old skin sale trap, just use those extra gems on upgrades if you really can't stand seeing them sit there. 8-Bit's introduction is something Brawl Stars players will never forget. When he dropped, Supercell went all in on the retro arcade theme, but they also went a little too crazy with his star power. Yep, I'm talking about Extra Life. It literally let 8-Bot respawn with full HP after being defeated. Combine that with his tanky health, and he basically became the Doug of 2020 Brawl Stars. In Showdown, he was nearly unstoppable, but in other game modes, he was kinda useless. After enough chaos and complaints, Supercell finally swapped it out for boosted booster star power that focused on damage. Do you like Hyra?
Yes, Balootic.
Do you want to become like him?
Yes, Balootic.
Well, now you can, by getting yourself banned. Recently, Hyra promoted a boosting service where he'd carry accounts for money, even throwing in a summer discount. But Supercell wasn't quite happy about it. After seeing his official post, they stepped in and permanently banned him. Hyra blamed Supercell, claiming they banned him out of hate, but it didn't stop there. Other players started copying him, creating leaderboard groups that advertise similar boosting services. Thankfully, Supercell wiped them out too. So, if you're ever in the mood to get banned, just carry your friends. This player manipulated the entire Brawl Stars community with a map name, because they named their map like equals 9,999 gems, tricking players into thinking they'd actually get gems. The map itself was pretty low effort and nothing special, but the worst part, other map makers in the community started copying this trend, even making the text appear on the map. And somehow, none of them got banned by Supercell. But guess what? To compensate for this, I'm going to be doing a 9 gems giveaway to somebody who subscribes. This is probably the dumbest map ever. It's called OO, and it features 3 teleporters that send players to small islands that are completely separated. Then, if you step into a teleporter again, you'll get sent to a bigger island. Also, every single island has healing pads that make it nearly impossible to do any damage. How did this even get approved? Speaking of islands, this map is basically an upgraded version of the previous one. It's got a total of 20 islands where players spawn randomly and can jump into other players' islands using jump pads. Kind of way too sweaty for a community map, and a lot of players agree with me on this one. Definitely slapping a tryhard only label on this map. There are 2 types of bots in Brawl Stars. First, the ones we hate. You know, the ones that ruin matchmaking and make every game feel like a tutorial. But then, there are the ones we love. The training grounds bots. And let's be honest, flashing those poor things into pieces when you're bored is probably the most satisfying way to spike your dopamine in this game. No pressure, no sweat, just pure bot destruction. Speaking of bots, nothing feels more satisfying than destroying them with Jae Young. This absolute beast of a brawler isn't just the fastest in the entire game. He also melts through mini bots like it's nothing. Honestly, he might be labeled as a support, but really, he's just supporting my satisfaction. We all know that Hank's super can create an absolute fireworks show when it hits enemies. But what happens when there's no one to hit? Well, it does something even cooler. The bullets just start spinning in an infinite circle like some kind of cosmic fidget spinner. And honestly, it looks amazing. I could watch that thing all day. Did you know that back in the day, you could trap players in your Brawl Stars stream? All you you had to do was stream from the training grounds. Then, thanks to a bug, viewers couldn't exit the stream unless they fully restarted the game. Pretty sure some streamers farmed views hard while that glitch was around. Mortis was originally a ghost. Okay. You might want to correct me and say he's a vampire. Back in the day when he first dropped, Mortis had this insane glitch that basically turned him into a wall-phasing specter. All you had to do was stand next to a wall, spam his attack at just the right angle, and boom, he'd slide straight through it. You could literally jump scare brawlers from the other side like some haunted horror movie. So yeah, Mortis might have been Brawl Stars' first actual ghost. Kenji is overpowered. Okay, not actual Kenji. But this demon boss version from the Katana Kingdom event is just built different. Every time you defeat him, he comes back even stronger. Just like the OG boss fight back in the day. Good luck going over Insane 6 with this boss, unless they found a glitch, which they did. Right after the mode dropped, players discovered a bug that made beating Kenji a total joke. All you needed was Spike. Just drag Kenji into a corner, spam your super, and boom! Kenji's stuck while Spike heals himself non-stop. So yeah, Spike officially solos the entire Brawl Stars universe.